Hello guys and welcome at the round 5 of Drift Corner Grand Prix Season 12. Today I'm with Killian and Jonathan, and we should be ready to go just in a few seconds. Hello guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Really
Howdy.
excited for this round. Hello, Jonathan. How are you keeping?
I'm doing good, man. I got about a half hour before I have to get ready to work, but so it's today. I have to come in and say what's up to the DCGP guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible bit of few drivers here today that are trying to prove themselves since the last round as well. We've got an absolutely stacked top 48 for everybody here today. Some massive names getting through again. We will be starting off with Group 1, our first group to run today. Will be Paul Gonzalez versus Louis Trevino, Ilnur Sambav versus James Estrella, Peter Plaskov versus Braden Howard, and then we have Virgil Chosen versus Killian Gerless. A lot of big heavy hitters there, guys who've been around a long time. Some guys who maybe haven't been around just as long, but we're still going to be really excited to see how it goes here today on this Montreal circuit. Very interesting layout here, and we hope to see maybe some crashes, some splashes, some unbelievable runs. There's definitely going to be some carnage here today. There's a lot of slow areas, so we will see what happens there with that.
So great that you can say that on the sim, but in real life you don't want to see that.
Absolutely not. No.
It's been chaotic there, especially with DCGP. A lot of the guys out here, they're big fans of like Drift Masters and Formula Drift. The season's starting. It just started, so I'm excited to see it. So take it away, Ian.
Yeah, Louis Trevino getting up on the door there, just failing to initiate a little bit as we go around the next part of the zone here. Louis trying to gain up some proximity here onto the door of Paul Gonzalez. Paul doing an incredible job here in the lead. Louis starting to reel close onto that door in that 180SX. We transition back here now. And a little bit of contact there from Louis in the chase as we come around to the next wall section here. Nice and deep as Paul Gonzalez in the lead. As we come through the last clip and across the line, we'll move it back to the start line.
Man, it was a little shaky there. A little bit shaky. Almost sent him into the ocean. But this track is very fluid from what I've been seeing for the layout wise. As soon as you set it and forget it, and you should keep that straight line the whole way. And there shouldn't be an issue for chasing today. So it's going to be awesome to see.
Yeah, we get them back to the line here now. We will wait for our lights to go. We get the red lights. And we get the green light, so Louis Trevino to lead out Paul Gonzalez here. Big long run up here on this straightaway as we get them to initiate into outer zone 1 here. Big flick entry from both drivers right on the back bumpers. Paul Gonzalez, we transition back now through this outer zone. Very wide here from Louis Trevino. Very scrappy here as we come back into outer zone 3 here. Around outer zone 4, Paul Gonzalez doing a very tidy job here in the chase. Just making the most of that scrappy lead run of what he can from Louis. Getting right up on the door. Really doing a tidy job as he's transitioned back here, right on the back bumper, that 180SX, sending the front bumper, that GT86, away into our final section here along the concrete wall, under the containers and across the line. Incredible job from Paul Gonzalez in the chase here to recover from that little bit of mistake from Louis. As we'll send them to the decision area here, just see what happens. We will get the win. So Paul Gonzalez getting the win there, moving on to the top 32 as we move it back to the line. It is Ilnur Sambav versus James Estrella.
Man, this layout is awesome. It gives a good feel of a competitive scene as well as like a fun, like festival scene, especially going underneath those trailers or connexes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get
green lights here as we get Peter or Ilnur Sambav to lead in James Estrella. James Estrella right on the door of the Mustang as we transition back into outer zone 2 here. A little bit of a gap forming between both drivers here having to take off a little bit of angle just to make that zone as we come to the outer zone 4 here, around to outer zone 5. Doing an incredible job in the lead. Not too shabby here as we come around again to this big concrete wall section. You really don't want to hit these concrete barriers. They will send you flying. James Estrella doing a very nice job here in that RX-7. Very, very tidy in the chase here as we come around the final section and underneath the containers and across the line. A little bit of contact across the line there, I think, right at the end.
Man, I would say that Mustang did a great job in the lead, giving that door for the chase driver, James. And the line he did was really smooth and consistent. That made it predictable for that chase driver. And the one thing I will say is that power alley, when they go in that sweeper, going to that one open area, that's sketchy as heck as being a lead driver, and having that commitment as a chase driver. If you can't trust the lead driver, you might go into the water.
A little bit of a late start here from James Estrella off the line. We do get going. James Estrella, number 48 in qualifying here, trying to prove a name for himself as he initiates through. Look at the transition here in the chase from Ilnur. Sambav doing a little bit of a tap there onto the side of the RX-7. We transition back here towards the concrete wall. That Mustang absolutely looking for the side of that RX-7 there as he lunges forward through the next transition here, around towards the next outer zone here, onto that concrete barrier. Doing an incredible line is James Estrella, coming back around to our final section here, working up onto the wall. Look at the Mustang. Oh, and a bit of a tap from James Estrella there as the Mustang isn't bothered at all. They cross the line. Wow, interesting battle here.
Oh no. I was just gonna say that RX-7, that the way he floated to the last turn, how he angled up and then used that momentum shift to carry himself out to the final outer zones, was beautiful until he made contact with that wall. Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately for James, that's all she wrote. Ilnur Sambav will move on to the top 32 as we move along to our next battle now. It's Braden Howard to take on Piotr Paskalowski, as we do have Piotr to lead out for this first half of the battle in that 370Z, being chased in by that Mark 5 Super of Braden Howard. As we leave the line now, let's send them down the massive long straight here, get them to initiate. Piotr leading in Braden, unbelievable initiation there in the lead. Oh, and we get big contact there, overcooking it as Braden Howard. Maybe a little bit of brake work there from Piotr, not really wanting that. There is a little bit of a zone there where you are allowed to decel a little bit. Maybe just getting a little bit thrown there at Braden Howard, but we will see what happens, what the judges make of that in the second half of the battle. We will send them back to the line, though. Both guys rushing back to the line.
Looked like Braden Howard caught the grass on the chase, and that made him fly into the door. It was a strange contact there.
Yeah, very possible. It's very hard to decel on the grass. You do just keep sliding. He did angle up very weird as well. That would explain that as we send them down for the second half of this run here. Braden Howard to lead in Piotr Paskalowski. Better initiation here as we transition back both cars through the first corner. Oh, just about. We got contact and Piotr slowing way down. Cutting corners here to get back up onto the door of the Mark 5 Super and nearly shutting it down here. Just trying to make up some ground as we come back around underneath the big grandstand, the back of the grandstand here, around onto the concrete barrier. Doing a very tidy job now as Piotr in the chase. Very scrappy battle this, as Braden doing all he can in that Mark 5 Supra just to keep it clean as much as he can. We'll have to see what the judges make of that, whether it's a one more time or who is at fault here for all of that contact. And I'm at a loss here. I'm not really sure who's... Oh, and there we go. Very quick decision. Piotr Paskalowski getting the win, going through to the top 32 there. So unfortunately for Braden Howard, that's all she wrote. And we'll move it on to the last battle of this group is Virgil versus Killian Gerless.
Virgil, an absolute slayer in multiple sim competitions. I love seeing him drive.
Yeah, absolutely. A really, really talented driver. But so is Killian Gerless. Very fast-paced driver. Usually rocking an A80 Super, but rocking with the A90 this time as we come through outer zone 1, transition back towards outer zone 2. Killian trying to get up onto the door of that other Mark 5 Supra. as we transition back here again. Look at Killian right on the door, exactly where the judges want him with that lead car of Virgil Chosa. Chosa doing an incredible job on the lead here. Look at the proximity to the wall from both drivers here. It's incredible as we get them to transition back now. Look at the dive from Killian Gerless. Just a little tap on the door. Just let him know he's there as we come through the final section under the containers and across the line. What a run from both drivers.
That was absolutely doors. You could tell that they've been practicing together. They know how each other drives. They could trust the commitment. Going through each zone, very smooth and consistent with getting it. That surge where he didn't crash into him. He rubbed that tire onto the door of Virgil, and it was absolutely maniacal how they were driving there, as if they were on rails the whole time. Great battle so far from both of these drivers. Let's see what they do here on the second half.
Both drivers definitely driving with a smile here. I can definitely tell you that as they leave the line again down the massive main straight here. Go to initiate is Killian Gerless in the lead. Virgil Chosa to chase him in as we transition into outer zone 2 here. Virgil looking to make a little bit of proximity up here. It cuts a bit of angle to get up onto the door of Killian as we transition back here to outer zone 4. A little bit more of a gap here from Virgil. Killian was a lot closer as we come around here under the back of the grandstand onto the concrete barrier. Virgil really reeling in Killian here now. And this is where we saw that proximity really shine between these guys in the last run. And look at that, it's there again. A little bit more maybe, but look at the surge on Virgil Chosa as we come across the line again. These guys, teammates, absolutely smashing it and giving you guys a show at home.
Oh man, Doorbreakers livery looking good on that 890, and they're making it look good going around that track. Holy smokes, both drivers absolutely on each other's door, not giving it any room for error. There was if you're gonna go tit for tat, you gotta look at that little contact. He was a little rough on that chase, but Virgil did a fantastic job on the chase there compared to the previous.
That's paid off. He's getting the win there. So Virgil Chosa gets the win. Killian Gerless will be bowing out of competition top 48 as we will move it along to our next group here.
Man, holy smokes. That was the first. That's the top 48. That's not even finals battles. That right there, you could have seen it as a finals battle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would have expected that kind of proximity through battles. Like, and even the lead line from both guys was so pinpoint accurate. They were like millimeters from the curb. Like, it was brilliant.
Oh yeah, and definitely a huge shout out to the people that are watching out there. I see Rose is in the chat. The voice in the pits during VDM. It was awesome to work with her, and always fun to chat up. I seen her when I was looking at the layout of the track, I was seeing her reels on Instagram. She's been practicing on it. She does qualify and tries to and attempts to qualify as top these guys have been qualifying this whole year. It's a hard to get into top 48.
Talking to people there last night, some drivers last night, the likes of Ricky Stobart, saying like this track is no joke. You have to get it perfect. But when you look at the qualifying scores from last night, our cutoff for top 48 last night was a 92.3.
Insane.
That's nuts, no matter where you are. And if you wanted top 32 guaranteed action, you were looking at getting a 94.8. That was the cutoff. That is wild. In any championship anywhere in the world, even on the sim, it's massive points. So anybody who's trying to qualify is doing my hats off to you. That's incredible what you guys are doing, the amount of work it must take to really get the track that pinpoint accurate. As we do get our next battle here is Carlos Bazinsquez versus Dominic Kezerzik as they initiate into that first corner. Carlos to lead in, doing an incredible job in the lead here. He had quite a nice round there at round 4. As we move through the rest of the track here, doing a very tidy job in the lead is Carlos, as Kezerzik not doing a bad job in the chase either. Maybe a little bit more fluid in pieces here, might want to be a little bit wider, but not doing a bad job overall here as we move through the last section of track here onto the concrete barrier. Very tidy from Carlos on that wall, hanging that spoiler over the wall.
Man, Gerless did a great job in the lead. I think Dominic was being too conservative in the chase, especially with these kind of qualifying scores. You gotta stick it to the door. I'm expecting Gerless to be super aggressive on the chase. Very big similarities with sim and real life drifting. You do have spotters saying, "Hey, he gave a car length, 2 cars length on the chase. You need to get closer to him." So that's what I'm expecting to see on this run.
Yeah, Carlos actually getting knocked out in top 48 last round by Alexander Element, which, you know what, Alexander Element ended up finishing quite high last round, which is completely fair. Carlos doing an incredible job here so far in that chase position here, chasing down Dominic as we get through that outer zone 4 around to outer zone 5 here. Very, very tidy run from both guys, very clean as that 370Z is hunted down the door. Sabina's contact with the wall. Unfortunately there, the whole way around that wall, big mistake there. No contact provoking that mistake as we move it around to the last section of track here. Carlos doing a very good job to just avoid that contact as much as he could, but we will move it along and wait for the judge's decision to come in. As we do get Carlos Bazinsquez getting the win, he will move on to top 32. And we will move it along to the next battle. It is going to be Nicostella versus Leon Peterzac. As we get the green light, that Heinz E driver, Nicostella, to lead in Leon in that Mark V Supra. He'll initiate. Big gap here already, right off the rip. Nico blasting that 370Z through this Montreal track here, through outer zone 2. Leon trying to catch up, trying to cut as much corners as he can, cut the angle. That car of Nico's is incredibly fast. Leon doing quite a nice job. He is getting there, but unfortunately it might be a little bit too late in the chase run. He will start to settle in onto the door of the 370Z as Nico powers that car all the way around the rest of this Montreal track, hanging the rear spoiler over the concrete barriers and across the line under the containers. Very good job from Nicostella.
Yeah, Nico the Kid Stella. He's always out there slaying it. He's putting the seat time in, and I love seeing him drive, especially seeing him grow. I've mentioned Rose that was in the chat. I'm seeing her even grow, being in the top 48. So all these drivers, if you've never seen sim drifting before, the only thing that's different is that they're in the virtual world. These drivers have their own stories. They have their own developments. They're bringing their practical sim drifting into real world. You've seen Nico actually in Drift Masters in Poland a couple years ago. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get the green lights to send them down the track once more, might be a little bit slower than Nicostella might be liking here. He was absolutely amped to get off the line here as we transition back towards outer zone 2. Nicostella doing a nice job to keep it nice and slow behind that Mark V Supra around outer zone 4 here and bringing those cars out towards outer zone 5. Nico doing a very tidy job here, not to be really pushing too hard. Knows he might have an advantage, like you were saying earlier, Tiny. These guys do have spotters, but very nice lead line here from Leon, doing a very nice job in that Mark V Supra as he hangs that spoiler over the concrete barrier. A little bit of a waver in the front there as he comes through the container section and across the line. I think we will have a pretty clear-cut decision there from the judges. Nicostella getting the win, and he'll move on to top 32. And I believe he's actually facing Darius Ostrojka.
Oh, God.
Hold on.
Be insane.
Let me just double check that. I don't trust myself here, but no, it's Vova Sezonov. As we move it along to the next battle here, it will be Sebastian Telage versus Saif Handyman. Look at the speed from the RX-7 here, right off the rip. Saif doing a very good job to keep with that very fast car as we move it around that grip tone livery RX-7, doing a very nice lead line there as we transition back. Look at the absolute proximity here from Saif Handyman. Very, very close. Very difficult to tandem. A big car like that BMW against the RX-7 is very small, very low car. It's kind of hard to see where you're going sometimes, but doing quite a good job there. Quite clean from both guys. Very, very smooth as they'll move it across the line. Possibly a little bit of contact with the wall from the lead there of Sebastian, but we will see what the judges make of that. We'll send them back to the line.
I do want to say with Saif and the BMW, I pointed something out. I thought of something when Nico was chasing, and right before the final turn, he shot forward in the pocket, waited for that transition, and then snapped to angle. I don't know how he did it. It was insane. Compared to, you see Saif's chase, he was very fluid in following it. Let's see if this RX-7 will do the same.
Yeah, let's see what he can pull off in the chase here as we get Saif to initiate in. Very nice initiation. Oh, and Sebastian maybe a little bit wide on the entry there. Makes up a lot of proximity. Runs wide again, having to cut a lot of speed there. He was cooking coming into that zone as we move it back around here through the center section of the track. Sebastian having to make up a little bit of ground here and settle the car. That RX-7 trying to tuck in onto the front quarter of that BMW as we transition back here now towards the last section of track. That little touch and go there around to the final outer zone, and a little bit of a tap there from Sebastian onto the door of Saif saying, hey, I'm still here, as we will move it along here, see what the judges decide. And Saif Handyman getting the win, so he'll move on to top 32. Unfortunately for Sebastian, that'll be all she wrote for this week, as we'll move it along now. And I believe our next battle is Muhammad Ali versus Yuna Savalinan. It absolutely is. We go down the main straight here. Both these guys, incredible drivers, had some good rounds previous. You had Yuna doing a little bit of a drop back there, just maybe giving a little bit of space. That GT86 does manage to make contact on that outer zone just beforehand as we come racked around to outer zone 4 and 5 here now. Doing an incredible job on that Mustang. Again, GT86, a very short car, very hard to pilot a long car behind one of them and match angle and match their proximity, but doing an incredible job as Yuna Savalinan here. Very tidy run. Muhammad Ali not putting a foot wrong here though. Look at the proximity to the wall. Unbelievable job from both guys here. You cannot have an incredible chase without an incredible lead. Muhammad Ali definitely showing us an incredible lead there.
Muhammad Ali is definitely one of the up-and-coming sim drivers from when I first saw him to now. This is a guy you don't sleep on. This guy puts down heaters of laps. And Chase, there has been times where he's faltered on Chase, but he's pretty consistent keeping close proximity with the lead driver as long as he trusts their line. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens here. Will Muhammad Ali leave a gap here to the Mustang and let him settle in first, or will he initiate right on the back bumper? And he decides to initiate right on the door of the Mustang. Muhammad Ali, look at the transition to the back there, right on top of the back bumper, right on the door now as we transition back towards outer zone 4 and 5 here. Bit of a wall tap there from Yuna, doing a very nice job in the lead here, but look at Muhammad Ali inches away from the back bumper of the Mustang as we pilot around the next section of track here. Very nice from Muhammad Ali and Yuna Savalinan here as we transition towards that last touch and go and around to the last concrete wall. Touching the concrete wall is Yuna. Unfortunately for that, Muhammad Ali doing a very good job there, just holding back a little bit, maybe saw that coming. But we will see what the judges make of that. And yes, Muhammad Ali getting the win there, moving on to the top 32 there. And that will be the last battle of that group. We will move it along to our next group here, which will be another heavy-hitting group. I'm looking at it here. It's Lucas Bazesi versus Hwang Hyun, Yasser Naif. Versus Marco Rourke, Sim Voort versus Vaidas Spalipia, and then we have to round it off Ahmed Azblaga versus Gert Kubersap. So some incredible drivers in this battle tree, and gonna be honest, a lot of guys where you'd be expecting them to be maybe qualifying a little bit higher. Some guys who've been here for years, the likes of Marco Rourke, Gert Kubersap. These guys are been around the sim as long as I can remember. I've been around a decent amount of time, and they were definitely here before me. So let's see what happens in this top 48 battle group. We are halfway through our battle group already for top 48. That is insane. We are moving so fast here at DCGP round 5 here in Montreal. as we wait for everybody to just go back to pits, just get a little bit of seat time in, make sure everything's working.
Marco Rourke, he is a fantastic driver too. I love seeing him drive it, and seeing from when I first saw him on Super Drift. I've seen him there and the other DCGP competitions. Sim wise, he's been absolutely killing it. Always rocking the S13 usually.
Yeah, definitely an incredible driver, that S13, built by a teammate of mine there, Caden James from Wild Monkeys, doing an incredible job on that car. It's a beautiful, beautiful
That's
car.
what WM stands for?
Yeah, Wild Monkeys. That is the name of that team. As we get them to move along here, it is Hwang versus... I've just lost my list here. It is... My list is gone. Okay, so Tayon to chase in here, doing an incredible job right so far in that A90 Supra. A very nice car, right up onto the door of the BMW here, as we move it around to the back end of the grandstand, onto the concrete wall. Look at the proximity here, doing an incredible job in that A90 Supra. Back transition through the last touch and go, and just start to inch up onto the door of the BMW. Incredible here. Starting to see a lot of drivers do that. That second big outside zone along the wall. Inch up there, gain proximity, and then once you're set up for the last zone, you just start to inch closer and closer and closer as quick as you can.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see that kind of commitment, and then just getting even more into it. Lucas doing a great job and the lead. Now we're gonna see him chase down Hwang Tayon. Hwang is also a guy I consider a sleeper as a competitor. He's an awesome driver as well.
Yeah, definitely Hwang Tayon now to lead out. Lucas Bazesi, I have found my list this time as we get initiating through outer zone 1 and around to outer zone 2, making a dive there is Lucas, but getting a little bit too heavy into the side of the A90 Supra as we come around to outer zone 4 and 5 here now. Lucas doing a kind of a scrappy job in the chase here as we transition back to the backside of the grandstand, out onto this outside zone. This is where I'm talking about, where everybody seems to pick up a lot of proximity right there as we transition back here now through that last touch and go. Oh, overcooking it a little bit is Lucas. Unfortunately, as a nice zone to get back up onto the door, can make up a bit of ground there, nice and handy, and across the line we go. And we will see what the judges make of that one.
Oh man, huge mistake. It's sometimes little mistakes in other competitions, but these little mistakes are huge mistakes in DCGP.
Yeah, and Hwang Tayon getting the win there as we move along to our next battle is Yasser and Naif versus Marco Rourke. Marco Rourke to chase out first. Yasser, let's see what he can do in the lead here as they get the green lights to be sent down the track. Mark to chase in that S13. Incredible looking car in that VRA livery. Initiates through right onto the door of that 370Z. Mark, a little bit of a gap now. Maybe just letting Yasser settle in a bit. A little bit of a tap there maybe. Yasser overcooking it a bit, going a little bit wide before that as Mark pilots that S13 onto the door of the 370Z as we work it back now to the back end of the track. Right, look there, look at the proximity from Marco. Wow. I am speechless, right on the front wheel of the 370. Very tidy lead run here though from that third outer zone. Unbelievable here from Yasser, right on the back bumper in the wall there, but Mark following him right there all the way through.
Marco Rourke is so spicy. Love it.
Yeah, he is aggressive. Let's put it that way. Aggressive is a good word for Mark.
Yeah, you see someone dropping a S13, you know they're usually about to throw down and try to be super aggressive in a chase and just hunting the door. And it's just something that you normally see. You got the people with 370s. They're very pretty when they fly through the zone. So here we go.
It's interesting though, because Mark is such a big cuddly bear in real life. He's a very nice guy. As we get them to leave now, Marco Rourke absolutely sending it down that big long straight. Yasser falling way behind here. Mark absolutely hammering the throttle around this Montreal circuit. Yasser running wide in the chase there. Mark just running away with this one as he goes out to outer zone 4 and 5. Brings that S13 around to the back end of the grandstand here. Doing an incredible job as Mark, as we see Yasser trying to get back up onto the door of that S13. Building that proximity in this center section as we come around to the final section of track, through that touch and go. Around onto the concrete barrier here. Mark doing a very tidy, smooth lead run as Yasser's right there now again as they come across the line under the containers. Let me see some hype in chat for both of these guys. Incredible
it's so
run.
Crazy, man. Mark, like when you see him put throttle down, you see that rear end squat and just it gives all the beans.
Yeah, Mark O'Rourke getting that win there as we go on to Siim Voort versus Vaidas Sipelia. I'm going to say Sipelia. We're going to call him Vaidas. As we get them to leave the line, Siim to lead in first in that Mustang. As he initiates, big flick there in the Mustang. As Vaidas right there in that S15, maybe just taking a little second there to let the Mustang settle into that drift. You might have a little bit of over-rotation, you never know. As Vaidas doing a nice job here to just hold exactly where he needs, get in the pocket of the Mustang. So quite a large pocket to settle into too. It's a big, big car as we come around this center section of track. Look at the proximity here in the chase from Vaidas. Doing a very, very nice job. Siim doing a nice job in the lead here too, as he pilots that Mustang around this last outer zone under the containers and across the line. Siim Voort doing a very impressive lead run.
Man, Vaidas was so close to him. He was taking a sip out of his cup holder. It was insane. The close proximity he was doing throughout the run. A little bit shaky at first. We'll see how Siim will adjust. If he's consistent with the proximity throughout the whole lap, each zone, I could see it more at advantage for him.
Yeah, as we get Vaidas to leave the line in now in the lead position, Siim Voort to chase in that Mustang. Big flick entry here from that S15. Oh, and right on the back bumper is Siim Voort as he starts to drop back a little bit and start to make up a little bit more proximity in that Mustang as you come around to outer zone 4 and 5 here. Siim trying to do the most he can to get back up onto the door of the S15 as Siim dropping back another little bit here, but will he make up the proximity in this power alley here? Not really. And it seems that Vaidas is just kind of running away with this. Very, very pacey S15 here. Siim not really having an answer here. As we cross the line, we will see what the judges make of that.
It's that Mustang. It's a fantastic chassis, but you just got to understand how to adjust the angle to keep the proximity alive there.
Yeah, and Vaidas getting the win as we move along to our final battle of this group. Ahmed Azbalaga versus Gert Kubersep. Gert Kubersep, animal of a driver. This man knows how to pilot a chaser. As we get them both to the line, Gert to chase in first. As they get the red lights, they get the green lights. We'll send them off the line here, send them down this massive run up here. As we get Ahmed to initiate into that first outer zone. Big flick entry here. Gert taking a little bit of more standard entry to that as he tiles on the angle here, coming through outer zone 3. Look at the proximity as he transitions back in that chaser. A little bit straight there is Gert, as he is in a longer car onto that 370Z as we come to the back end here underneath the grandstand into this center section. Look at the proximity. Wow. From Gert Kubersep, unbelievable job as we transition back now towards the last section of track here. Gert giving a little bit of a love tap there, just letting him know he's there. Maybe upsetting the 370Z of Ahmed a little bit along that last outer zone, but we will send them back to the line.
Wow. Yeah, Gert, that's a Gert run. That's what I'm normally used to him running, like on the chase with that chaser. It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand how aggressive he is, but yet calm. And it's something of a talent for these drivers in the sim world and even in real life. It's awesome to see this.
Yeah, we will send them back to the line here. They get the green lights to go. Gert Kubersep to lead out Ahmed Azbalaga here. Gert sending it down that chaser. Big flick entry and that massively long chaser there. Ahmed doing the best he can there. Big angle there from Gert to keep it on track. Does an incredible job to keep that on line as Ahmed doing the best he can to get onto the pocket. Maybe a bit of contact there as he makes a dive onto the side of the chaser as we come around now into the center section of track. Gert doing a very tidy lead here. Ahmed making the most of it. Look at the proximity here. Can trust the lead line of Gert Kubersep as we come along to the final zones here. Ahmed doing an incredible job on the side of that as Gert gets a little bit close to the wall there. Maybe upsets his line a little bit, unfortunately for him, but what a set of runs from both drivers.
Folks, this is not AI, just letting you guys know. These are actual drivers with wheels. It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, Gert Kubersep getting the win there for a phenomenal performance on both runs there, and that is the last battle of that group. We will move it along to our next set of drivers here. Which will be Hassan Selik, Olav Tagu versus Oleg Tagula, Titus Rosinski versus Vicente Falcon, Jaroslav Pisecki versus Ernest Javor, Adam Gozwiz. These Polish names, man. I've done a full season of DMP and still can't do Polish names. I'm getting better though.
Mate?
Adam Gomosilacek versus Adrian Matejacek.
Man, these guys are
definitely
awesome.
Butchered them. I do apologize to everybody.
It happens. It happens. There's been times where I've had my interpreter Mackie say the names for me, but
see, I was the interpreter for Brandon Carter in DMP, and that was a terrible idea.
Well, I will have to say I have this bug out. The season started for drifting. Everybody's excited for it. DCGP is still going live. I have to get ready for Fuel Fest as well as work today. So, man, it was a pleasure having you shoutcasting with you, man. It was awesome.
No problem. It's always a pleasure to do a bit of commentary work with you, Tiny. I love it.
All right.
I love it so much. Take it easy, Tiny. Have a good one. As we will move it along, we can see the guys just doing a few practice runs here on the server, just making sure everything is all good with their stuff. You're stuck with me and Mackie here now for a little bit until we have Yogi joining us later, which is great. So we get everybody sent back to the pits and we will get our first battle up here for Hassan Selik versus Olav Tagakula. There we go. As we do get Hassan pulling to the line there and Olav just following shortly behind in that 370Z. We will get the ready and the go here. We've got green lights. Hassan to lead out Olav. Hassan in that Mark 5 Super here. Down the big main straight here. Big flick initiation from Hassan. Interesting entry from Olav there right on the door as he transitions, loses a little bit of proximity, has to back off slightly as we come through into outer zone 4 and 5 onto the wall. Very clean through there from both drivers. That Carbon Drift Team driver of Hassan Selik as we transition back now on to the middle section here on track. Look at the proximity. Olav doing an incredible job in that 370Z as we transition towards that last touch and go and around towards the last outer zone. Very long section here. Have to keep it nice and fluid throughout here. Both drivers do as they cross the line under the containers. We'll send them back to the line now. Both drivers doing an incredible job. They'll be happy with that. They'll have a little bit of a chat with their spotters really quickly just to figure out what happened with both of those drivers. In the lead, Hassan will be going, what kind of happened behind me? Couldn't really see. And really, when you're chasing first, it's quite hard as a spotter to say, look, you kind of just have to do your best lead run. You can't really do a whole pile. You can't play too many games. You just really have to try score that 100-point run as we do have them lined up again. Olav to lead out Hassan here. As Hassan getting a massive jump there on Olav. Maybe a massive entry for Hassan here. Not really as he gets up onto the door now as we come into this big decel zone here. Hassan having to drop back a little bit here. Big angle there as we come through outer zone 4 and 5 here. Hassan a little bit scrappy in the chase as we transition at the back of the bottom end of the grandstand around this big concrete barrier. Hassan settling into the side of that 370Z now as he puts that Mark 5 Super in the wheel well of the 370Z on the last section of track here. Incredible proximity from Hassan as they cross the line under the containers. Unbelievable stuff from both drivers as we will wait for the judges to drop in a decision. We will see what happens here. They will have a little bit of deliberation, see what happened. As you can see, there are sponsors on the boards there. Spotsub Motorsport, Marcus, and we have Simplane, I think it is. Simlane. And we are getting a decision to drop in there. And I believe it will be Hassan getting the win, and it is Hassan Selik moving through to top 32. And unfortunately for all of that will be all she wrote for this week. We'll see him back for the final round next time. As we do move it on to our next, it'll be Titus Rosinski versus Vicente Falcon. Both S15s here, fairly equal cars as they leave the line. Titus to lead out first. As we power both S15s down, we get a big flick entry here again from Titus. Unbelievable entry here as we fly down. Big angle difference here between both guys. Chaser driver having to slow down quite a bit there just to make sure he doesn't hit that lead. That's a very easy mistake to make in that section as you come around towards the center section of the track here, the back of the grandstand. Vicente doing a nice job settling onto the side of that S15. Both these cars same length, so you can literally just follow what the lead driver is doing. Makes it very easy in the chase as you come along to the last center bit of track here. Vicente having to cut some angle there just to get up onto the side there. Much better transition from Titus in the lead there. Maybe just a little bit of a mistake there from Vicente Falcon as we get them back towards the line here. Just moving them back ever so gracefully. We'll get them on the bell to their spotters there. Hopefully have a little bit of an idea what's going on, what they have to do for the second half of this battle. So we switch them around now. It'll be Vicente Falcon to lead out Titus Rosinski. As we get the green lights, we send them down for the last time in this battle. Vicente, what will we do for an initiation here? Are we going to see a massive flick? Of course we are. This is exactly what most people are doing there. It's what the judges are looking for. Titus doing a very, very tidy job there. Very smart driving from Titus Rosinski in the chase as we come around to outer zone 4 and 5 off the wall there. Titus doing very, very nice here as we come along to the back of the grandstand and moving, powering those two S15s right around the wall. Look at the proximity from Titus Rosinski. Very clean from both drivers. A very nice lead run here from Vicente too as we come along the last bit of track here, last section under the concrete wall and under the containers even, and across the line we'll get the judges to make a decision. And it's a much better chase from Titus Rosinski. He gets the win for that according to our head judge Mateus. All down to that chase run from Titus, and we will move along to our second last battle of the top 48 is Yarsov versus Irnus. Yarsov to lead us out first in that BMW. Very, very pretty looking cars. We get a flick entry here. Oh, right on the back bumper is Irnus. Big angle there, a bit of a stall up, bit of a, not really sure who is at fault there. That is a decel zone, but was it too much of a decel? A lot of angle put in there as Irnus trying to just finish out this run here in the chase, and that Mustang doing a nice job. We'll settle into the side of that E92 now. Just keep it there, keep it nice and tame. Just make whatever points you can up. You're not really sure what way the judges are going to go with as we move into the last section of track here onto the concrete barrier. Very tidy lead run here from Yarsov as well. We will get them back to the line. Very interesting there. We'll have to see what the judges make of that one. I'm not really too sure who would be at fault for that. I would have to watch it again and see who broke first and who didn't break enough. But that's up to the judges. I don't need to do that. That's not my job. As we get both guys back to the line here, we will get Irnus Javor to lead out Yarsov Pilasecki. As we get the green lights, Irnus to lead out Yarsov. Big entry here from both guys. Right on the back bumper is Yarsov. Right there. Big, more than 90 degrees there from the Mustang. As we drop wide too, unfortunately. Yarsov right there, managing to not make contact through that little bit of a sketchy surface there as we come back towards the center section of the track. Yarsov doing a nice job in that E92, settling onto the door of that Mustang as we transition back here towards the final touch and go and onto the last section of track here. Very tidy lead run there from Irna's Javor. Very nice. And look at the proximity here from Yarsov. Very nice. But we will have to see what the judges make of that first run there. We'll have to, that little bit of contact, who will they deem at fault? And Yarsov Pilsecki getting the win as we'll move it along. So obviously the judges deeming Irna's Javor at fault for that contact. He will drop out of competition as we move it on. Adam Gomol sees, I'm going to need help with these names. Gamalishek, Adam and Adrian here to go through big high-speed entry, both 370Zs. Look at the proximity here. Not supposed to have seen anybody go through that section all day. As we move through headers on 4 and 5 here. Brilliant proximity from Adrian here as we come through the center section. If the proximity was that good, what's it going to be like through the middle section? Inch perfect is what it's going to be. Look at the proximity between both of these guys. The lead run is insane. It's very, very nice. Oh, maybe a little bit of a mistake there from Adrian, dropping back a bit, going a bit wide, but gets right back up onto the quarter panel of the 370Z, and across the line they go. Unbelievable stuff from both these guys, both Polish drivers, an all Polish battle, as the last one was as well between Yarsov and Irnush. We'll move it back to the line between Adam and Adrian. We'll swap them around. We'll get Adrian to lead out Adam this time around. Incredible first run on this battle, though. We will have to see what happens for the second half. Can we get another replica of the first half of the battle and go one more time? I could watch this all night. This is finals level stuff. As we get Adrian to lead out Adam this time. Adam in that yellow 370Z. Let's see how close they are. Inch perfect again as they transition back. A little bit of a gap forming there between both guys. Adrian running away a little bit as we come through outer zone 4 and 5 here onto the wall. Good job there from Adrian on that lead run in the black and white 370Z. As we come into the center section here, very tidy shot from both guys. Settle into the pocket now. Both these guys in the 370s can know these cars very, very well. So you know how long and everything you can push these cars. Adam doing a very tidy job, getting up onto the door, keeping it nice and fluid, and across the line to go under the containers. We will see what the judges make of that. And it will be Adrian getting the win and moving on to top 32. And that's the top 48 done. We will move it along to top 32.
Yeah, as you said, Kian, right now we are moving to top 32 battles. So winners from the top 48 will now face the best qualified drivers up from 16th place from Monday and Tuesday quali sessions. So right now we're restarting the server, drivers are joining in, and we should be ready to go.
Yeah, as we wait for everybody to just settle in, make sure everything's working again. Obviously with server resets, things can unfortunately happen where things don't get really loaded in properly.
More like drivers need to make sure that grip is at the right spot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Grip levels are in the right spot. Some guys it's kind of a mental game too. If you step away from your rig for like 5-10 minutes between battles, you kind of go, ooh, I wonder, is everything still working? I think a lot of guys tend to be sitting there waiting, ready to go, just make sure that nothing else happens while they're waiting. So our first battles of this top 32 will be Simon Sandman versus Paul Gonzalez. Paul getting the win there earlier in top 48. Ilnur Sambav versus Saleh Al-Wahabi, and Ilnur getting the win earlier in top 48. Emilis Velika getting the win earlier as well versus Peter Postolowski. Virgil chose it versus Jakub Dawn. So all these guys doing battle. Some of these guys doing battle earlier. Some of these guys have just qualified high enough. And we will move along to our first battle between Simon Sandman and Paul Gonzalez, getting them to the line. Paul Gonzalez to chase out Simon Sandman, the Swedish man who is an animal. Unbelievable driver, Simon Sandman. An absolute legend of sim drifting as we get them to initiate into outer zone 1 here. Paul Gonzalez right on the door as he transition back towards outer zone 2 and through that touch and go around outer zone 3 here, transition back towards outer zone 4. Paul looking unbelievable here in the chase position right there. Maybe got a little bit of top off the wall, sent him a little bit shallow there as Paul works that 370Z onto the door. Simon Sandman doing an incredible job in the lead here. Simon, an absolute robot. This guy just does perfect runs all day long as Paul can really trust that lead run in that S15. He just nudges up onto the door. Does an incredible job there. We'll send them back for the second half of this run. Just have a quick little bit of chat there with their spotters. Just make sure everything's all good. Simon will be looking to see how close Paul was and what knob he has to push and how close he has to push proximity there. Because Simon is actually genuinely a robot. He is incredible. He can dial that proximity in and out as he wishes. It's unbelievable how this guy drives, but we send them down. Massive run up here. Looks like Simon Sandman right on the back bumper, and he is on initiation there as we transition back towards outer zone 2. Simon Sandman making the dive onto the side of the GT86 of Paul Gonzalez. A little bit of a tap there as we transition back towards outer zone 4 on the wall around outer zone 5. Simon Sandman doing an incredible job here as we transition back underneath the grandstand around to this center section. Simon Sandman right on the door. The proximity doesn't even make sense as Paul Gonzalez is doing an incredible lead line here all the way along, but Simon Sandman knowing that he's going to push extremely hard onto the door of the GT86 right inside the wheel well. Unbelievable stuff here from Simon Sandman and Paul Gonzalez. Very, very good runs from both of these guys, and Simon Sandman just doing enough to get the win there, as that will be all she wrote for Paul Gonzalez. Top 32 finish, nothing to throw your nose up at. Very, very good finish. As we move it along now to our next battler, it will be Ilnur Sambav versus Saleh Al-Wahabibi. We're going to call him Saleh in that RCF. We love to see the RCF. Needs to be seen in more competitions as Saleh initiates there very, very nicely. Ilnur, maybe getting a little bit too shallow there, nearly in front of Saleh in that RCF as he transition back towards outer zone 4 here, right onto the wall. Goes Saleh in that RCF, doing an incredible job in the Lexus as we transition back. Ilnur starting to reel in proximity here into the center section, right into the pocket of the Lexus as we transition back here now towards the last section of zone, through that last touch and go around onto the concrete wall. Ilnur settling right onto the door now. Incredible job from both guys here. Incredible lead and incredible chase. As we will swap them around now, get them back to the line. They'll settle back into whatever they have to get mindset-wise, change up from lead to chase and chase to lead. Saleh doing an incredible lead run there, but will he back it up with the chase? Ilnur having to do a very good lead run here as well. Saleh's was incredible, so green lights go. Let's see what happens. They make their way down the main straight. Big long run up here as the Mustang goes to initiate. Big angle there as, Saleh run a little bit wide there. Has to make up a little bit of ground onto the Mustang there. Running wide again, possibly dropping a wheel in that RCF is Saleh, as Ilnur doesn't seem to care, just going on his merry way on that qualifying line, doing a very, very nice job there as we transition back underneath into the center section of track here. Saleh settling onto the door of that Mustang as we power both those cars around into the last touch and go, and we will see the proximity start to creep in there very, very nicely from Saleh right on the door. Both these red cars doing incredible jobs. Very, very nice from both guys, as that will be the end of that battle. We'll see what the judges think of that one. They will have a bit of deliberation there, I think, see what happened. Little mistakes here and there from both guys. Judges deliberating a lot more on this one than other. And we do get Ilnur Sambav getting the win, taking out Saleh in the top 32. So Ilnur will move along to the top 16. Next battle up is Emilis Velika versus Piotr Paskalowski. Paskalowski even. Pasowski. There we go. As we get them to the line, that Mark V Supra of Emilis Velika, another incredible driver. That Aros Marine livery, I believe. It is indeed. As they send it through outer zone 1, around down to outer zone 2 here. Through that little touch and go. Piotr doing a decent job here, trying to get onto the very fast Mark V Supra, as Velika doing a very nice job here, doing a very good lead line. Will we see Piotr tuck up onto the door of the Supra? We will. As we transition back now, have to make a dive here, Piotr. Get a little bit closer to the front end of that Supra, and he does. Just tries to hold it there the whole way around that last outer zone under the containers and across the line. We'll send them back here now. A little bit of contact, a little bit of pushing and shoving going on after that run. We will get them back and see what happens here. They'll take their time getting back, just make sure that everything's okay with the spotters. Emilis will be onto the spotters going, what happened there? How much do I have to push in the chase? And will we know what they say? No. But we will find out how close Emilis Velika pushes here now in just a second as we get the red lights and we do get the green lights. We'll send them off the line here. Emilis Velika to chase in Piotr Poskolovsky. And yeah, right on the back bumper there is Emilis Velika. Look at this, the proximity coming in to the touch and go. Very, very nice from Emilis as we transition back here. Piotr doing a very nice lead line here. But Emilis knowing that he can trust that lead line, he's going to push even harder. Emilis right there as we come now through this center section. The proximity section is unbelievable. Perfect from both guys here, but the chase run from Emilis Velika is unbelievable here. Look at the proximity. He's in the wheel well of the 370D, rubbing tires as they cross the line here and go to the decision area. We will get the judges to make a call on that, and that's it. Emilis Velika getting the win as we will move it along to our last battle of this group. Virgil Shosid versus Jakub Don. Jakub Don in that BMW 1M, Virgil Shosid in that Mark V Supra. So Virgil have a really, really good set of battles there with his teammate Killian Gerless earlier, as we have Jakub Don to initiate in that 1 Series BMW through that outer zone 2 there, through the touch and go. Virgil right there in that Mark V Supra as he transition back towards outer zone 4 here and through outer zone 5. Virgil doing an incredible job to keep up with the very fast BMW 1M as we go around through the center section here. The big proximity zone. Judges really want to see very fluid proximity gain through that section. And just like here as well, they want to see right on the door, right on the wheel well, just pushing that lead driver along. Virgil Shosid doing just that in the chase as we'll send them back to the line to switch around. Jakub Don gonna have to do quite a bit of work here in the chase to stay ahead in, or if he even has an advantage in this battle, we'll see. He definitely had an incredible lead run there, and that will definitely be taken into account for the battle decision as we get them both turned around here. Virgil Shosid to lead in, Jakub Don in the top 32 here. Second half of this battle, we get green lights to go. Virgil leaving the line, pedaling both of those cars down towards the initiation point as we flick into the first outer zone. Look at the proximity from Jakub Don here in the 1 Series. Perfect through that center section. Absolutely pinpoint accurate as we come through outer zone 4 and 5 here. A little bit of a tag on the wall from Jakub Don there just to show off as we transition back here now towards the center section as he'll start to settle into the door of that Mark V Supra, doing an incredible job as Jakub Don. As we transition again back to the last zones here of the track. Big outside wall run here, and Jakub Don is right there on the side of the Mark V Supra as they cross the line under the containers. Unbelievable from both guys. the judges will be definitely rewarding all of the work these guys put into their practice. And an incredible amount of practice was put in. Jakub Don getting the win there, and head judge Mateusz saying a great chase by Jakub too. So both guys saying GG's in the chat as well. And we will have a server reset. We'll move it on to our next set of battles, where it'll be Ricky Stobar to take on Gerless Bazinsquez, Nicostella versus Vova Seznov, Darius Ostrika to take on Saif Hadman, and Muhammad Ali to take on Andres Kleinbergs. Big battles here for this group in top 32. Some very heavy hitters, the likes of Nicostella, Ricky Stobart, Darius Ostrika, even Gerless Bazinsquez, a guy who's wanting to make a name for himself in this championship. Saif Hamdan already with a win this evening under his belt in that top 48. Ricky Stobart, though, one of these guys who had an incredible set of runs last night, qualified 4th overall with a 96-point run. Saw him on in Discord last night, asked him how he was feeling. He's like, well, can't believe I pulled that off, but he's happy about it. Definitely put in a lot of practice for this round. And even last round had an incredible round at round 4. So we do wait for our judges to call these guys back to the line. And as I just pull up my sheet here, yeah, Ricky Stobart finishing in the top 8 last round. Just losing out to Vitaly Isaiah, who ended up finishing 3rd overall. So he will be gunning for a top 4 finish today for sure, as we just wait for the judges to get everything set up. Muhammad Ali, you can see there, just leaving the line. Our head judge just having a few technical difficulties there. Just waiting to see if we get the go-ahead. See Andreas Kleinbergs, yeah, there we go. So we get the call to pit, and we'll get our first battle up. It'll be Ricky Stobart to take on Gerless Bazinsquez for our first battle. See Ricky pulling to the line there. Gerless to pull to the line as well. Gerless already with a win again underneath his belt there this evening in that top 48. We get green lights to go. Ricky Stobart to lead first as we get them to absolutely pedal both of those cars down this Montreal circuit through the first initiation. Gerless right there on the back bumper of Ricky Stobart as Ricky starts to settle into the run here, right out to outer zone 3. Transition back now towards wall, outer zone 4. Clinical there from Ricky Stobart. Gerless doing a very nice job in the chase here, just staying with the S15 as we come through the center section here, right into the proximity zone. Gerless settle onto the door of that S15, and he will, as we get another transition towards the ending of this run here, final section. Gerless making a big dive onto the door of Ricky Stobart here. Ricky not putting a foot wrong though, right on the wall, right to the very end, and across the line they go. Very, very nice from both drivers. We'll get them to switch around. Ricky's going to have to go close and be very, very consistent and fluid throughout this next half of the battle. Make sure that he gets the win here. That was very good from Gerless in the chase, but Ricky had an incredible lead. Perfect all the way along. That's why he qualified 4th with that 96. Did an incredible job. As we get Gerless to lead out now. Ricky Stobart getting turned around onto the line. We will get red lights and we get green lights. Off they go. Ricky Stobart to chase in Gerless Bazinsquez in that 370Z. As they power down, flick in Ricky Stobart right there on initiation. Oh, and inches away from the back bumper on transition as we come through that touch and go area onto outer zone 3 here. Transition back towards outer zone 4 onto wall. Not as close as Ricky Stobart is. Gerless Bazinsquez onto that wall as we come around outer zone 5. Transition back to 6 here. Ricky Stobart doing a very nice job in the chase here as he settles into the door of the 370Z in the proximity zone. On outer zone 7, transition back here to that touch and go, outer zone 8, and around to outer zone here now, outer zone 9. Ricky getting up onto the door, into the wheel well of the 370Z, pushing across the line is Ricky Stobart. Gerless Bazinsquez doing a very nice lead there too. Definitely say Ricky was able to chased that very well. But Ricky Stobart getting the win because the chase run was so clean. So we will move it along to Vova Sesnov versus Nicostella. As we get them on the line, we get them to leave now. Vova Sesnov to lead in first. Nicostella right there looking for an aggressive initiation. Yeah, and that is exactly what we get. Inches from the back bumper of Vova Sesnov's car. As a little bit of contact there throughout that center section as we come along to outer zone 4 and 5 here. Nicostella doing a very nice job in that 370Z as we transition back here. Vova doing a very clean job in that lead run. Very nice and tidy as he tucks that Mark V Supra along the back of that outer zone onto the wall there as we come around to the final zone here. Vova not putting a foot wrong, but that makes room for Nicostella to push up onto the door of the Supra in that 370Z. Very, very good run from both guys here. Very, very nice. As we move them back to the start line. We will wait and see what to just make of it after the second half of this battle, but very even match here for both our drivers. As Vova Sesnov on the line in the chase position here, maybe jumps the line a little bit as Nicostella powers that 370Z down this Montreal straight as he flicks, big flick now into outer zone 1, flick back to outer zone 2, a little bit of a handbrake drag there on the foot brake as Nicostella, as Vova Sesnov settles onto the side of this 370Z, transitions a little bit late onto outer zone 4, tries to make it up onto outer zone 5, making a bit of a dive as we transition back to outer zone 5 now. Nicostella doing a very tidy lead run here. Vova Sesnov sees that though and settles up onto the door of the 370Z as we transition back now towards the final sections around onto outer zone 9. Vova just getting a little bit wrong there, going a little bit shallow in the corner, gets back up into proximity, but I don't think it's enough, unfortunately, as Nicostella crosses the line. Unbelievable stuff, and Nicostella does get the win straight away there. We'll move it on to our next battle. Darius Ostrika to take on Saif Handan. We will get both guys, Darius Ostrika to lead out first. As we get red lights, we get green lights. Both guys will leave the line. As Darius Ostrika powers that Mark V Supra, Aros Marine there. Around, down towards outer zone 1, flicks back towards outer zone 2. So I have to make it a little bit of a correction here. Get up onto the door of the Supra as we go through, transition back towards outer zone 4 here onto the wall. So I'm getting a little bit wrong there, tagging the wall, putting on a lot of angle, dropping back a little bit as we transition back here. Will Saif be able to make up the proximity onto the door of the Mark V Supra? And he does. Gets right up onto the door there, pushing that smaller car along. It's the second time he's had to battle a smaller car. As pushing that Mark V Supra, Darius Ostrika along the wall, a little bit of a tag of the wall across the line for Darius Ostrika. Very, very clean run there for Darius in the lead. But again, he's one of these guys who's just a robot, can put in lead run after lead run after lead run, and they're perfect every single time. Saif Hamdan doing an incredible job in the chase, but might have to do a lot here in the lead. We'll have to do a flawless lead run to get this win, I think. As we move them back to the line, we'll get them swapped around. Saif settling into that lead run. Darius will get turned around now into the chase run. And we will get them ready to go. There's the green lights. Both drivers will lead the line. Saif Hamdan to lead in Darius Ostrika right on the back bumper is Darius Ostrika. Look at the initiation here from Darius right on the back end of that BMW. Flawless through that first and second outside zones, along outside zone 3 towards outer zone 4 here. Right there's Darius Ostrika doing a very nice lead line here is Saif Hamdan. As we come along now to the center section, Darius Ostrika will want to settle onto the door, into the wheel well of that BMW, and he does. Does a very nice tidy job there, very smooth and fluid from Darius Ostrika. Oh, Saif hitting the wall there, tagging the wall, getting a little bit wrong, sending Darius a little bit out of shape too. And across the line they go underneath the containers. Unfortunate little tag there from Saif. Darius Ostrika getting the win there as we'll move it along to the next battle. It will be Muhammad Ali versus Andris Kleinbergs. Andris Kleinbergs to lead out Muhammad Ali as we get the green lights to go. Muhammad Ali already had a run earlier on, did get the win, obviously, as he is in top 32 from top 48 as we initiate through outer zone 1 there. That RT Riga driver of Andres Kleinberg's in that E36. Very, very good driver here as Muhammad Ali knows that. Will get up onto the door, that E36. Look at the proximity here from Muhammad Ali as we transition back now towards the back end of the circuit through outer zone 7 here. Tuck up into proximity will Muhammad Ali. E36 of Andres Kleinberg's flying through this Montreal section here as we come along to the final outer zone of outer zone 9. Muhammad Ali's just nice and fluid up onto the door of Andres Kleinberg's, but Andres doing an incredible job in the lead there. Very smooth the whole way through, not really putting a foot wrong as we get them back to the line. Muhammad Ali is going to have to do it all again, make it nice and smooth and fluid throughout the rest of this run and his lead run. Andres going to have to push fairly hard now onto the side of the GT86, but we definitely know he's well able to do that as we get both guys turned around here. Andres settle into the chase lane here. We get red lights and we get green lights. We'll send them down this long run up here. Andres Kleinberg lighting up the tires of that E36 already as he goes into the rear bumper of the GT86. Transitions back now, tries to make a little bit more of a dive onto the door of the GT86 and is successful, gets there as he transitions back now towards outer zone 4, right onto the door again and around to outer zone 5. Transition back now under the grandstand to outer zone 6. Andres doing an incredible job in the chase here, but Muhammad Ali doing very, very nice lead run here as well as he hangs that spoiler over the wall and transition back now towards outer zone 9. Look at this in the E36 right there. Maybe a little bit of a correction there from Andres as we cross the line. Muhammad Ali does a little bit of a loop. A lot of smoke there. We'll see what happens with the judges here. Let's see what they say. Very, very nice from both drivers. Very even matchup there. A few mistakes here and there, a few corrections, but like you have to be splitting hairs to see these things, and the judges are definitely good at that. That's why they're the judges, not me. I much prefer them being the judges. I don't have to make these hair-splitting decisions. So we will see. Muhammad had a little bit of a better chase run without the corrections. So that means Muhammad Ali gets the win, moves on to the top 16. Very, very big congratulations to him. Andres Kleinbergs, we'll see him back for the next round. Unfortunately for him, that will be all she wrote for this weekend, finishing out in top 32. Very, very respectable as we will move it to the next group. It's our final group for our top 32. As we just wait to get back into the game here, we'll just load in really quick. As I'm mistaken, no, it's our second last group of our top 32. We get everybody back in here now. As we see Mark O'Rourke there just pulling to the line. Do a few quick tests just to make sure everything's all good. Hwang Tayon as well, another guy who won his battle earlier on. Mark O'Rourke going up against Lau Bing Cheng, the guy who kind of came out of nowhere and won last round. Unbelievable stuff. Had a fantastic round last round. And we Cameron Mustard versus Vaidas Spalia. And Gert Kubersev versus Ernestas Jakublis, another man who has been around for quite a while now, another robot. But Vitaly Isaev again in this group as well, so he's coming up against Hwang Tae-hyun as well. So we will see what happens with these groups. That's Hwang Tae-hyun of chasing in Ernestas Jakublis here. Putting on a show for the guys. Very, very nice there. We get to see a bit of practice of what these guys do just as a test. And really all they do, they'll just make sure everything's working, just do a run or two, just make sure that everything's all good. See Mark O'Rourke's teammate in the chat there, Ian Johnson. How you doing? as we do get the call for our first battle. So it will be Hwang Tayon to take on Vitaly Isaev. Second half of this run, sorry. I'm completely messed up here. So that was actually the first half of that run. As we get through to the second half of this battle, Ernesto Jakub Vitaly Isaev to chase in Hwang Tayon here. As unbelievable job on initiation there of Vitaly Isaev, leaving a little bit of a gap there on that Mark 5 Supra, and good job he did, because running wide is Hwang Tayon in the lead onto outer zone 4 here. Very, very nice as Vitaly Isaev gets up onto the door of that Mark 5 Supra again, trusting now through the center section of track. Hwang Tayon right on the wall there, hanging the spoiler around, but Vitaly Isaev right there as well, doing the same thing. Just come through the touch and go here, the final touch and go, on to the final zone. Vitaly Isaev nice and fluid through there, making very, very slight corrections. Can't even notice them unless you were looking for them. And they will park up there. We will see what the judges make of that. And Vitaly Isaev getting the win. As we move it back to the line, it'll be Mark O'Rourke to take on Lau Bingcheng, your last round champion. Lau Bingcheng to take on Mark O'Rourke. Mark O'Rourke, a guy who's been around for years, an absolute legend of DCGP, as he will definitely want to make that known and show Lau Bingcheng what's up as he initiates right on the door of the 370Z. Mark not giving an inch here as he pilots that S13 right onto the door of the 370Z. Transition back here to outer zone 4 and 5. Mark maybe cutting a little bit of track there just to keep up with the speed of Lau. And look at that, tucked right into the wheel well of that 370Z. Mark doing an incredible job in the chase here, but Lau not putting a foot wrong in the lead either. That's really allowing Mark to get up onto the door there as he inches his way up onto the door, nice and gentle. Oh, and Lau hitting the wall there. Maybe a little bit of contact from Mark. We will have to see what the judges make of that one, unfortunately. That was interesting. I'm not too sure. Was there much contact there? I know there might have been a little bit, but if it was enough to do that, maybe it might have just sent Lau into the wall and brought the front around. We will have to see after the second half of this battle. It'll be Mark O'Rourke to lead out Lau Bingcheng now. We will see what happens. They'll be onto their spotters asking what happened there. As Lau lines up in that chase line here, Mark O'Rourke to lead out. He will pedal that S13, try build as much of a gap as he can as they initiate now. Big flick entry from Mark through outer zone 1, flick back now to outer zone 2, piles on the angle. Very, very nice from Mark, but Lau not absolutely caring at all. Right there with Mark O'Rourke with all that angle. Mark trying to force a mistake in the chase here from Lau Bingcheng, but not giving him an inch as Lau. Very, very nice in that 370Z as Lau right there again through the center section. Mark not putting a foot wrong here though in that lead run. Lau losing a little bit of proximity, but will settle back up onto the door. That S13 now coming through this final zone. Under the containers they go and across the line. We will see what happens here as we will get a discussion from the judges. We'll see what happens and a few rings, lad, to with the Irish heritage from Mark there. Big man for Fonda Donuts. And first run we are hearing that was a hit from Mark, so that was what caused that. So Lau Bingcheng getting the win. Mark protesting though. We will see what happens here. Mark obviously not happy with that call, saying that there was no contact on his end at all. It was ping. So these things unfortunately do happen with ping. Lau obviously a Chinese from China, so it's a long way away from where our server's base. Mark a lot closer being in Ireland, so pretty sure these are German servers. Distance is a massive thing there, but the judges can look back and see exactly what Mark saw and exactly what Lau saw, and they'll work out who's at fault. So we will see what happens. The judges will go back and have a look. That's the whole point of a protest. They allow protests in this championship to make sure everybody gets a fair deal. And in fairness, a lot of other competitions starting to maybe think about it now. It does slow down a little bit, but if drivers are happy, that is the main thing. And really, judging has to be fair. So judges are looking at this, Mark, trying to deliberate with them. We will see what happens here. And Mackie, what would you say in terms of protest? What would the process be for that?
You mean what is the protest process, or what?
Yeah, so what would the judges really go and do here? Would they be looking at replays? Would they look at the replay of Mark's perspective?
Yeah,
would
like,
Mark send them his replay, or?
That's a new thing, because drivers trying to say that on his screen there was no hit but pink issue, but yeah, judges can watch only from their perspective, so they can disconnect from a server, they can save the replay, check it a few times. So yeah, I'm also really curious what will be the outcome of this protest, because as I said, it's a really new thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a lot of competitions not having this.
Okay, so judges decided that it's gonna be a rerun of this last run, I guess.
I believe Lau Bincheng has already left though,
yeah.
so this is all very new for even the judges, because this is obviously the first season you're running this protest thing, is it?
No, the protests are really from a long time. But
okay.
I
wonder have we ever had this situation before where half of the battle has left.
Right
so
now I will try to find his opponent.
So we are actually going along to the next battle, which
we'll come back to this battle.
But we are getting Cameron Mustard versus Vaidas here, and Cameron Mustard to lead out first. He will leave the line there in that 180SX. Cameron Mustard, an absolute veteran of sim drifting. He's been around everywhere, every competition. As he initiates through Outer Zone 1 here, Vaidas going to make a big dive through that touch and go of Outer Zone 2. Very, very nice as we turn around to Outer Zone 3 here. Or sorry, Outer Zone 4 and Outer Zone 5. As we transition back now underneath the back of the grandstand, Vaidas right there. Cameron Mustard not putting a foot wrong here in the lead though. Vaidas, knowing that Cameron Mustard is a very good lead driver, will trust his lead run, will go door to door and trust that he's not going to make a mistake. And that's exactly what you're seeing here now as Vaidas pulls onto the quarter panel of Cameron Mustard, as we will run it back to the start here. We'll switch these guys around to see what happens in the second half of this run. And Cameron Mustard is an incredible chase driver, by the way. He is an unbelievable driver overall. His leads are fantastic, his chases are fantastic, but he's a very aggressive chase driver. So we will see what happens here in the second half of this battle, as we do have Vaidas back on the line. Cameron Mustard just returning now. And we'll get Cameron back onto the chase lane here. As they leave the line, they get the go-ahead. Vaidas to lead out. Cameron Mustard gonna go very close here on initiation, right on the back bumper as we come through Outer Zone 1. Transition back here. Cameron Mustard pushing hard to dive onto the side of the S15. Does a very tidy job through Outer Zone 3. Transition back to Outer Zone 4 here onto the wall. Cameron right there with the S15 and the 180SX as we come around here underneath the back of the grandstand. Outer Zone 6, around Outer Zone 7 here, the proximity zone as I'm calling it. Look at that proximity from Cameron Mustard, doing a very tidy job there as he gets back up onto the door now through this final section. Very, very fluid from Cameron Mustard. Only have to make a little bit of change there. Vaidas having to make a little bit of a correction in the lead run. Cameron adjusting perfectly for that, as we will see what the judges make of that one. They line up waiting patiently for what happened there. The judges will have a little bit of deliberation. And Cameron saying, damn, I got no grip. So even pulling off an incredible run with no grip is Cameron Mustard. We'll see what the judges make the final call on that one, though. As Vaidas waiting there patiently as well, alongside the beautiful 180SX. And it's a one more time for both of these guys. So Cameron Mustard and Vaidas to rerun that whole battle again. So Vaidas going back to the line. Cameron Mustard to lead out once again. So green light goes. Cameron Mustard leaves the line. Big run up here again. Vaidas right on the back bumper here of Cameron Mustard, not giving him an inch as we transition back here now. Cameron putting on massive angle. Big dive there from Vaidas. Oh, maybe getting a little bit too long, a little bit too much sauce on it as we come back through outer zone 4 and 5 here. Vaidas trying to get back up onto the door. The 180SX doing a very nice job. Is Vaidas in the chase? Cameron Mustard going nice and wide there onto that concrete barrier into the proximity zone. Vaidas right there. Cameron Mustard doing very nice again through that touch and go onto the outside line here. The last section. Vaidas starting to tuck up onto the S13. Does a very tidy job. Very fluid from both drivers. We'll send them back to the start line. We'll get them to run the second half of this battle again and see if the judges can make a decision. Both these guys very, very talented. Vaidas maybe wanting to get this battle over and done with a little bit quicker than Cameron. Cameron taking a little bit more time to get back to the line in both battles here. The original battle and this one more time battle. Just taking his time to get back onto the line. Maybe trying to warm them tires, make sure they're all good for grip as we do get the green light again. Vaidas to lead out Cameron Mustard as they power down towards this first outer zone. Cameron Mustard throwing hell for leather here onto the side of Vaidas, a lot closer on initiation than the first time round, and looking them through outside zone 3 now and onto 4 and 5. Cameron Mustard doing Cameron Mustard things right on the door as we come around to outer zone 6 and 7 here. Tuck up onto the door of the S15 is Cameron Mustard, but Vaidas not doing anything wrong here, doing an incredible lead run here. Nice, smooth and fluid, exactly what the recipe is to have a good chase run behind you, which Cameron Mustard knows. Pushes up onto the door of the S15 and across the line. Unbelievable stuff here from both of these guys. Cameron Mustard gets the win. So Vaidas dropping out of the top 32. Cameron Mustard moving on to the top 16. And that was an incredible battle. Unbelievable stuff. As we will see what happens here now. Will we go back to the one more time? Or will we go back to the run of Lau Bingcheng versus Mark O'Rourke?
The run.
Yeah, so it'll be a rerun of the second half of the battle.
Yeah. So
Mark will be redoing his chase, I believe. No, it's Mark O'Rourke to lead Lau Bingcheng. So Lau in the wrong lane there, so a little bit of confusion here, the rerun. So no, it is Lau Bingcheng to lead out Mark O'Rourke. So a full one more time here is what I'm hearing as Mark O'Rourke goes into the chase lane here. If we get red lights, we get green lights. Mark O'Rourke to chase out. Lau Bingcheng. Mark hunting down that 370Z right on the back bumper on initiation here. I can guarantee it. Yes, absolutely. As they flick back here now. Mark's hungry for this win as he goes right onto the door of the 370 in the fast-paced zone there. As he come around out of zone 3, transition back to outer zone 4. Lau cannot shake Mark O'Rourke in that S13 as we come around to outer zone 5 and through outer zone 6 here. Through into outer zone 7 into the proximity section here. Mark O'Rourke right there on the side of the 370Z. Lau Bingcheng doing an incredible lead run as Mark O'Rourke pushing onto the door here of Lau Bingcheng, not putting a foot wrong, making sure there's no contact here, but he's right there with them as Lau comes across the line with Mark O'Rourke in tow. We will send it back to the line here. Mark O'Rourke to lead out Lau Bingcheng. We will see what happens in the second half of this battle. So just in case any of you guys aren't looking at the chat there, so DCGP did put in a comment to say we're rerunning this battle because of the ping. Lao Bingcheng had an issue with his ping, and with the protest from Mark and everything, the judges decided it's best just to do a rerun completely. So we will move it on to the second half of this rerun. Mark O'Rourke to lead out Lao Bingcheng as we get them to leave the line. Mark O'Rourke pedaling that S13, that V8 under the bonnet there, flicks hard out to outer zone 1, flicks back to outer zone 2. Really, really high angle there from Mark O'Rourke as he powers that S13 around, maybe just dropping a wheel there. Lao Bingcheng dropping angle as he tries to get back up onto the door. The VRA livery S13 here. Mark O'Rourke doing a very nice, tidy job, very fluid through the lead run here, as Lao knows that Mark is very good at the leads. He's going to push hard through there. Maybe trying to transition a little bit early there was Lao Bingcheng as he pushes right up onto the door of the S13 there, as Mark pilots are long underneath the containers there and across the line. We will see what happens with this run here. Lao Bingcheng gets the win again, as we will move it along now to our next battle. Last battle of this group, and then we'll be on to our final group of the top 32. So it will be Ernestus Jakublis to lead out Gert Kubersep. So Ernestus Jakublis firing that Mark 5 Super down, and Gert Kubersep right in tow there. Very aggressive chase driver is Gert Kubersep, and you can see that here coming through the touch and go right on the door of Ernestus Jakublis. Ernestus doing an incredible lead line here. Gert knowing that Ernestus is one of the most talented sim drivers around at the moment. He knows he can push him around this track if he needs to, and he's going to do just that coming through this proximity section here. Look at Ernestus, perfect, inch perfect around the rest of the track here, but Gert right there with him, knows exactly what he needs to do to beat Ernestus Jakublis. Will he pull it off in his lead run, though? We will have to see. We'll get them back to the line. Ernestus to chase in Gert Kubersep in the second half of this battle. Both guys heading back to the line there now, nice and quickly, as we do run things quite quickly here at DCGP. Gert Kubersep will tuck in to that lead lane. Ernestus Jakublis to tuck in to the chase. As we get ready and a go there, we got green lights. Gert Kubersep to lead out Ernestus Jakublis. And Ernestus looking to be very aggressive in the chase position here right off the rip. And he is right there on the door of that chaser as he brings that Mark 5 Super right onto the door again through outer zone 3. Transition back now towards outer zone 4. Right onto the wall go both drivers. That chaser absolutely filling up this track. Massive car, and that Mark 5 Super not as big, but still able to get down with the cruise ship of the chaser here as we transition back now towards the last section of the track. Ernestus Jakublis right there. Look at this robotic chase run. It's unbelievable. It doesn't make sense. Oh, and maybe pushing Gert into the wall there right at the end is Ernestus, and he actually sends a laughing emoji into the chat. I think he knows already. He did push Gert Kubersep into the wall, and yeah, Gert getting the win there. Unfortunately for Ernestus, that was incredible right up to that point. So unfortunate, as that will be the end of that group. We will move it along back to the next group here, where we'll have Damian Wyszek versus Hassan Selik. We'll have Titus Wazinski versus Ahmed Al-Hamadi. Alexander Elman versus Yaroslav Pilsecki. Adrian Majecik versus Bartosz Sposob. As we just get everybody to load in to the... Yeah, we got everybody loading in here now. Lobby is filling up, so we're starting to fill in with everybody. We'll get everybody to do their little quick practice runs just to test everything.
Yeah, coming back to the protest stuff. Yeah, we have protests from many seasons, so drivers after the final judge's call can make a protest, so they can just write it the in-game chat protest and the reason of the protest. So yeah, they can only do that just immediately after the announcement of the judges' score. So then judges are watching the exact run that was protested, and they make the final and binding call after that. So that's the protest in a few words.
Yeah, as we move it along here now, we will get everybody ready to go. As our head judge just getting everybody to settle into the pits here now. We'll get everybody back to the pits. We'll get Damian Vajcek versus Hassan Selik on to the start line here now. Damian Vajcek to lead out Hassan first. Hassan, that Carbon Drift team driver in that Mark V Supra. And Damian Vajcek in that 370Z, that purple 370Z, as we get them to initiate into outer zone 1 there. Hassan taking a little bit of a tentative entry there in the chase as we get Damian Vajcek doing a very nice job there. That Vozan livery to 370Z as we transition back here. Hanging that spoiler over the wall is Damian as we come around now to the back of the grandstand. Look at this from Hassan right there on the door of Damian, doing an incredible job. Look at the run here. The lead run is perfect proximity along the concrete barrier here. Hassan doing everything he can to stay on the door of that 370Z. Slight corrections, but you're going to see that in every chase run. Perfect from both drivers here. Judges are going to have a real tough battle on their hands unless we see any issues in the second half of this run. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we just see perfect run after perfect run here. Some of these battles are looking like finals already. We're not even through the top 32 as we get Hassan Selik to lead out Damian Vajcek here. We get the green lights to head on. Hassan in that Mark V Supra. Initiating in, Damian Vajcek right there in the back bumper, running a bit wide is Damian on initiation there. Big angle there coming through the touch and go from Hassan, doing a very tidy job in the lead thus far, right onto the wall, hanging the spoiler over and around to outer zone 5 here as we come transition back to outer zone 4 underneath the grandstand, around to the proximity zone. Damian Vajcek settling up onto the door of the Mark V Supra here. Very tidy from both drivers, not putting a foot wrong. Very fluid and smooth from both guys. Damian trying to force that 370Z a little bit closer, and he does. He managed to get up onto the wheel of the Supra. Very, very tidy there from both guys. And we'll go over to the judges for a decision. Waiting for them to drop that in. They'll be splitting hairs on that one. It was very, very interesting. Maybe just through that last section on the second run, Damian a little bit further away than Hassan was on his chase, but we will see what the judges make of it and what they think. Their opinion is the only one that really matters. So apparently Damian had 2 mistakes in the second run, a wheel off and contact. So during the first transition, so Hassan Selik gets the win there and moving through to the top 16. He'll be delighted with that. Unfortunately for Damian Vajcek, that'll be all she wrote, and we'll see him back for the next round. We'll move it along to Ahmad Al-Hamadi to lead out Titus Rzinski. And we will get this battle going. Last bit of top 32 here. Only 3 battles left as we get Ahmad to chase in Titus Rzinski. Ahmad running away with it so far. Titus trying to make a big dive up through that touch and go. Does a good job there of that transition back now to outer zone 4 and 5. Very, very nice from Titus getting onto the door of the S15 as we transition back now to outer zone 6 into the proximity area section of the track here. Titus right there on the front wheel of the S15 of Ahmad Al-Hamadi. Very, very tidy from both these guys. Maybe wanted more proximity there is Titus, and does just that. Locks them front wheels, cuts a bit of angle just slightly just to get up onto the door. Gets there nice and quickly as we move it along back to the second half of this battle. We will get both guys to switch around. And we only have, after this battle, 2 battles left in our top 32. We'll move along to top 16. We get both guys to just turn around really quick. Ahmed to chase out. Now, Titus to give a lead. As we get the red lights, we get the green lights ready to go. Ahmed Al-Hamadi to chase in. Titus Wazinski as we flick entry in. Ahmed Al-Hamadi, incredible in the chase here. Look at how close he is through the touch and go. All the way through that first section of track was unbelievable. Maybe a bit of contact there, not wanted from Ahmed. As we come through 4 and 5 here, Ahmed not giving an inch to Titus in that lead. As we come around to the proximity section here, what's it going to be like? It's going to be tight. Couldn't fit a sheet of paper between these two guys right now. Look at the proximity from Ahmed Al-Hamadi pushing the S15 of Titus Wazinski around this Montreal track as we get along here. Look at that. Unbelievable stuff from Ahmed Al-Hamadi. The proximity didn't even make sense. Few little mistakes there, a few little bits of contact. But there are more rubs more than anything. There was perfect. It may have, just at the end there, a little bit of contact might have sent Titus into the wall a little bit, but didn't really affect his run overall. We will see what the judges make of that though. And it will be Ahmed Al-Hamadi getting the win. Better chase run and a better lead there, according to our head judge, as we move it along to Alexander Elman versus Yaroslav Pilshecki here. Alexander Elman having a wonderful time last time round in DCGP. Had a great time. Pretty sure he finished second last round, so we will see what happens here. Alexander Elman to lead in. Yaroslav right there in the chase. Oh, maybe a little bit shallow there from Yaroslav, trying to gain up a little bit of proximity from Alexander. Alexander is unbelievable in that A90 Supra. Very, very fast driver. Yaroslav doing the most he can there in that E92 to get on the door of the Mark V Supra and stay there as through the proximity section they go. Very, very nice here in the chase from Yaroslav Pilshecki. As we move it around to the final zone here, and not putting a foot wrong is Alexander Elman, doing an incredible job in that A90 Supra, as we'll get them back to the start line here, and they will do it all again, swapped around. We'll get Alexander Elman to chase Yaroslav Pilshecki. The thing about that is, Alexander is an incredible lead driver, very good lead driver. His chasing is unmatched. He is unbelievable. And he is going to put it on the door of this E92. I would bet my house on it. As we get them turned around here. As I think I hear a Yogi in the background there.
Yeah, you did. Did you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now, yeah.
I said I would bet my drift car on it. Alexander's going to be on it.
Absolutely, as we get Alexander to chase in here for the second half of this run. Alexander Elman right there as we transition back now. Alexander Elman pushing that E92 through that second touch and go as we come around to outer zone 3, transition back to outer zone 4. Alexander Elman not giving an inch there, nice and fluid throughout the first half of this run. As we transition back now into the proximity section, Alexander is going to want to settle back up onto the door of that E92, and he does just that. Look at how perfect he is. So smooth in that A90 Supra. Gets back up onto the door here now through this final section of track. So smooth with his corrections as we get across the line under the containers. Unbelievable stuff from Alexander Elman. How smooth was that? It was unbelievable. As we will wait for the judges. And yeah, Alexander Elman getting the win, moving through to the top 16. And we'll move it on to our last battle of the top 32. Bartosz Spasov versus Adrian Matisiak. As we get the green lights there, Adrian to chase out Bartosz. Bartosz Spasov initiating now into outer zone 1. Really, really nice job. Adrian right there. Oh, and contact! Contact before we'd even completed the transition properly. So that Spasov motorsport driver stopping on track there. We will go back to the end of the run there. I know Adrian is just finishing out the run there, making sure that he does finish the run just in case it wasn't his fault. Judges will deem whoever is at fault, but if it wasn't Adrian's fault, he doesn't want to zero his entire run either. He wants to keep that run going, make sure he has a score on the board. So we will call them back to the start line now. Bartosz Spasov to chase Adrian Matisiak for the last run of the top 32 this evening here in Montreal.
Such a fast entry. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big long run up, and we will see what happens here in the second half of this battle. Adrian to lead in Bartosz Spasov. Bartosz Spasov's going to want to go really, really tight here to the back end of Adrian. Leaving a big gap there. You want to make a dive coming through this touch and go here. Does make a dive. Does have to cut a lot of track. Adrian very, very quick here through this first part of the track, making a lot of proximity, getting a lot of distance between him and the chase driver. Bartosz doing the most he can to get up onto the door of the other 370Z on track into the proximity area here as he does start to tuck up onto that quarter panel as we transition back here now to the last section of track. Bartosz very inside there, not making the most of this, unfortunately, as Adrian Matosiak finishes out the run there. And that will be the end of your top 32 here. We will wait for the judges to make a call on what's going on here and who is at fault for that first bit of contact. Will we see it one more time? Maybe, maybe not, but I presume we have a decision here. We just wait for the judges to drop that in. Having a bit of deliberation, they will go back and watch that run just to make sure that they're not seeing anything or missing anything. Make sure that everything is in line with what the judges had told the guys in briefing all week. So guys will have to wait just a few more seconds just to make sure that everything's in tip-top shape. They will want to know that the scoring was fair anyway, so we will see what happens here. But they're taking a good long time to have a look at this here, so judges may be catching something as they were watching the first run just to make the decision. We are hearing from our head judge Mateusz. We will see what they made of that now though. So he is typing in. The initiation wasn't perfect, but the chase lost grip in the front tires, so that would be the chase's fault. So unfortunately, I think we're... Oh, hold on. Are we getting one more time here, maybe? Because it was a 0, and we did finish out the run. So, are we going to get a rerun here? Maybe one more battle. D-Cell from the lead started in a good place in the track, but Bartosz Spasov getting the win there. So there you go. Adrian Matosiak deemed at fault for that, and that will be the end of top 32. That will move us along to top 16.
Yeah, and right now we'll have 10 minutes break before the top 16 brackets, so right now you can go to make some food for yourself, make some drinks, and we'll see you back with top 16 in 10 minutes.
Right.
JBL.
Okay, guys, so we're coming back for top 16 action.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so very exciting. Top 48 and top 32 there, so we will run it back now. So all the guys who got through that top 32 battle action there will run again now for the top 16, and we'll bring you all the way to the finals here. Myself, and I'm joined by Yogi again for the rest of this competition as we get everybody back in. We get the pit call from Mateusz. Our head judge will be Simon Sandman to take on Ilnur Sambav, and Ilnur to chase out Simon first. Simon had an incredible battle earlier on. It was unbelievable as we get them to leave the line here. This very long run up. If you're just tuning in, welcome. This is a massive long run up here in this Montreal circuit as we initiate into the first outer zone. Look at Ilnur right there, running a little bit wide onto the grass. There's Ilnur in the chase, but making proximity back up onto the door of the S15 is Simon Sandman as we go back to outer zone 4 onto the wall. Simon doing an incredible job here. Perfect angle through the whole section. Back to outer zone 6 here and around to outer zone 7 into the proximity section. Ilnur right there in that Mustang, pushing Simon Sandman along as we rotate back around to that touch and go and into the final section of track here. Ilnur want to settle a little bit closer in there, just little nudges up onto the door of the S15 of Simon Sandman. Very, very tidy job from both guys there. We will get them swapped around for the second half of this battle, Yogi. As I think we might have lost Yogi there. I can't hear him.
Yeah.
And we get them swapped around. Ilnur Sambayev to take on Simon Sandman there. Simon to give chase. We get Ilnur leaving the line here. Will this initiation be incredible? It always is with Simon Sandman in tow. Look at that. The initiation was perfect from Simon. Right on the door of the Mustang as we work it down through that touch and go. Second outside zone around to outer zone 3. Transition back now to outer zone 4. And Simon Sandman right there with Ilnur Sambayev in that Mustang. Ilnur doing a very tidy job here in the lead as Simon pushes up onto the door of the Mustang now as we come into the proximity section of track. Right in the middle here. Simon doing an incredible job. Robotic chase runs here from Simon as we pushes back up onto the door of Ilnur. And look at this, the proximity is insane. Just giving little nudges to that Mustang, saying knock knock on the door. Look, I'm still here, I'm not moving. As we will go to the judges for the decision. We will wait for them to drop that in, and they will deliberate about this one just to make sure that everything was in tip-top shape. There was a little correction there in outer zone 7, but Simon still had the better chase run. Simon Sandman gets the win there, according to Mateusz. He is our head judge for the evening as we move along to our next battle. It will be Jakub Dawn versus Emilis Velika. Jakub Dawn in that 1 Series BMW, Emilis in that Mark V A90 Supra as we get them to power down the long straight here, initiate into outer zone 1. Emilis right there on the back end of the BMW as he transitions back now towards that touch and go down into outer zone 3. Emilis not giving an inch here to Jakub Dawn as we transition back a little bit slower of a transition and a little bit inside now as Emilis Velika in that Aros Marine Mark V Supra as we come into the proximity zone here. Emilis right on the door of the BMW now, doing an incredible job. Doing flawless chase driving here is Emilis Velika as we come around now to the final zone. Look at the proximity here in the chase. But the lead run is perfect as well. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic runs here from both drivers as we'll get them back to the start line. We'll swap them around. Emilis Velika to give lead to Jakub Dawn. Jakub Dawn's going to want to push extremely hard here, get onto the door of that A90 Super. It's a very fast car in the hands of Emilis. So we will see what happens in the second half here as we do have Yogi back for the second half of this. I think we might have lost him there again. It's Jakub Don right there.
I'm back.
Yeah, MLS doing an incredible job here in the lead. Jakub Don in chase, not as close as MLS was in the first half of this battle, unfortunately, as Jakub Don's going to want to make up a lot of proximity here, get up onto the door of that A90 Super, and he does just that as we transition back now towards the last section of track through that touch and go. MLS, a massive amount of angle through that section. Jakub Don right there as we move along through and across the line under the containers. Very tidy job from both guys as we wait for the judges'
to come back.
decision.
Can you hear me well now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hopefully we've got it sorted. Sorry, I'm having a lot of technical issue.
Yeah, as we just wait for the judges to drop in their scores for that run, we will see what happens. And both guys just congratulating each other as they wait for... So MLS with a better chase run. MLS Velika getting the win there, moving on to the top 8. He will be the first to drop, or the second driver to drop into the top 8. He will come up against Simon Sandman in the top 8 there as we move it along to Ricky Stobart versus Nicostella. Big battle here. Both these guys are incredible drivers. Ricky Stobart to lead out first. Nicostella in tow behind him. Nico, massive jump there on the line as Ricky Stobart initiates, flicks hard into outer zone 1, flicks back again. Nicostella right there on the back bumper, drops back a little bit through this little section here before the touch and go, gets right back up on the door to outer zone 3. Now outer zone 4 right there again as they come in close contact with the wall. Nicostella doing a very tidy chase run here as Ricky Stobart pilots that S15 from Carbon Drift Team around this Montreal circuit into the proximity zone. Nicostella right there onto the door. As we transition back now again, massive angle from Ricky as we come along the outside wall, down underneath the containers and across the line. Nicostella doing an incredible chase run.
Nico's on a different level. Wow. So now we're going to see Ricky switch position and go into chase. Can he return a favor? What do you think, Ian?
Absolutely. I think Ricky Stobart's one of those drivers you can definitely trust that he's going to go 100% all of the time. And talking with him last night, he was like, yeah, no problem. I have this on lock. Got top 4 last round. He's ready to go. Sorry, he got top 8 last round. He's ready to go again this round.
Well, let's go. So we see Nico leave the line. He's going to go fast, that's for sure. Ricky's going to try and chase. Bit of a gap on initiation, but he's going to catch through clip 1. Onto the decel zone. Ooh, Ricky takes a straight line approach a little bit, but he gets back onto the door. He's not as close as Nico, but he's trying to catch on now. Keeping proximity. A bit of a love tap there. Puts Nico in the right place. Transition to the next clip. Onto the wall run. Absolutely pinpoint by Nico. Ricky is making it work. Transitions around. Back up to the last outer zone. They're going to run. And Ricky's right there. He's keeping it. Down to both.
Yeah, as we wait for the judges to drop in the score. Yeah, Nicostella getting the win. Unfortunately for Ricky Stobart there, that will be all she wrote for this week as he gives the sunglasses emoji in the chat. He's happy enough with what he did. As we move along to the next battle now, it will be Muhammad Ali to take on Darius Ostrika. Darius Ostrika in that A90 Super there, Aros Marine branded, as Muhammad Ali in that GT86 right there on the door of the A90 Supers. He transition back now to outer zone 4 and 5. Muhammad Ali not giving an inch here to Darius Ostrika. Transition back here. Darius doing an incredible lead run as we go along that wall. Very, very nice from both drivers. Nice and clean through that section as we transition back now to the last touch and go. Muhammad Ali making a dive up onto the side of the A90. Incredible driving here from Muhammad Ali. Very fluid on the door of Darius Ostrika, pushing him along through the last bit of track there underneath the containers. We will throw them back towards the start line. Very, very clean run so far. We'll see what happens in the next half of this battle. Darius Ostrika does incredible lead runs, but when it comes to chase runs, he's also flawless as well. So we will swap them around and see what happens here. Darius Ostrika, that Aros Marine livery A90, along with a few of his teammates, Emilis and we've got Ernestus Jakublis as well in that realm. As we got red lights, we get green lights, off they go. Darius Ostrika getting a little bit of a run up there onto the GT86 of Muhammad Ali as we initiate through now into outer zone 1. Darius Ostrika right there on the back bumper of the GT86, and again on transition down through the touch and go. Right there's Darius Ostrika as he comes through outer zone 4 and 5 here now. Look at the proximity from Darius Ostrika right there as we come now. Transition back into outer zone 6 underneath the grandstand. Down into proximity zone, outer zone 7, and Darius Ostrika is not giving an inch to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali running an incredible lead line here as Darius Ostrika keeps getting up onto the door of the GT86. Keep pushing and pushing across the line goes Darius Ostrika and Muhammad Ali. Unbelievable stuff here from both drivers. Fantastic. As we wait for the decision, and decision does come in, Darius Ostrika getting the win there. Unbelievable stuff. Fantastic as we move it on to our next group. Unbelievable stuff there from all of the guys there. As we move it on to our next group will be Vitaly Izaev, Lau Bingcheng. And then we've got Cameron Mustard versus Gert Kuberseb, Hassan Selig versus Ahmad Al-Hamadi, Alexander Elman versus Bartosz Sposob. We will get everybody settled in to the server now just momentarily.
Am I settled in now? Kian, what do you think?
Your mic sounds like you're in a Pringles can, but...
Oh.
We are having a few technical difficulties, unfortunately, but we will see what happens with that as time goes on. As I believe I'm on the wrong server. Somehow, yeah, as I'm in the wrong server, it's loaded me into a different server. Unfortunately, I'm getting back in there now.
Yeah, well,
Mackie, I'm not sure if you can see.
Vitaly Izaev is at the start line.
Yeah, I'm in here now. I can see everything. So our first run, Vitaly Izaev versus Lau Bingcheng of this group of top 16. We're halfway through top 16. Vitaly Izaev to lead out here. I can't actually see what's going on, Mackie. I'm not sure if you can.
I can see them nicely. They're doing first corner, sorry, second one. Very close proximity from Luo Bingcheng. Chasing down Vitaly Izaev. Also nicely down here. This long sweeping corner. Transition there. And into the last outside zone they go. And across the finish line. Good job here from Luo Bingcheng in his chase run.
Okay, I think my cameras are working now again. And we will see what happens in the second half of this battle. We get both guys back to the line here. Get Vitaly to turn around, get into that chase lane. Another incredible driver there. Vitaly Izaev been around for a good while as we move along to Lau Bingcheng. Had a couple of runs there earlier with Mark O'Rourke. And we will get them to initiate straight into outer zone 1 here now. Lau Bingcheng doing a nice initiation there. Vitaly Izaev in tow, doing an incredible job in the chase as Vitaly gets to stall up very well there. Not make contact with that lead driver of Lau Bingcheng as we move along to outer zone 5 here now. Transition back towards outer zone 6. Doing an incredible job is Vitaly Izaev. Incredible stuff here. Vitaly Izeev is just right there on the door permanently. He's stuck there. Liu Bincheng not putting a foot wrong though here in the lead position, doing a very, very tidy set of runs here. Fantastic from both guys. Oh, and a bit of contact there right at the end. Judges will definitely have a look at that. Ah, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, it sounded like your gain was very high the last time around on your mic. But we will just wait for judges to drop in their scores here.
Okay, so I can carry on now. I can finally join you.
It's gone bad again, mate.
Oh, no.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It's in and out. So we do wait for the judges to drop in the scores here as Liu Bincheng and Vitaly Izeev wait very patiently. And judges having a bit of deliberation on this one, maybe looking at that last bit of contact there on the second half of the battle. We will have to see what the judges make of that one. They will probably give us a bit of a heads up on what is actually happening here, but will definitely be interesting to see.
So they're going to tell us at some point. They're going to say this is what happened. Hopefully, because we want to know.
Yeah, and then we have Liu Bincheng doing a few rings about Vitaly Izeev here. Popular thing in Ireland here, rings, lad. Shout out to the juice box guys. We will see what happens here. This is very interesting. A lot of deliberation going on here. This is a very long talk the judges are having with each other. Wonder, are they just really watching a replay and telemetry here? Because the judges do have all of that on the sim. It's very nice for judges because they do have so much information, so many different angles, so many different bits of info that they can look at. Like, they can see exactly when people break, how much they break, like to the exact second how much pressure you put on your brake pedal is the level we're going on to here. It's incredible, and they really do end up in the end having to split hairs. So Mateusz is coming into the chat here. We were watching a few times the very end of the contact on that second run, so they're trying to see who was at fault for that. Just waiting for more information. Low was hard on the left foot brake just before the end. So that means, I don't want to say it before it is put into the chat. Oh, Vitaly had no choice to avoid the contact, and Vitaly Izeev does get the win there. So Liu Bincheng, last round, he won the round, and unfortunately he has been knocked out in top 16 here this week, but some unbelievable runs he put in today. That was 3 incredible battles that he had.
Let's see what happens.
Two at Mark O'Rourke and one just there as we go ahead there. Cameron Mustard versus Gert Kubersep here. Cameron Mustard to lead first as we head down the big long straight here. Cameron Mustard flicking incredibly fast here. Gert Kubersep right there in that big chaser as Cameron Mustard fires on. Massive angle coming through outer zone 3 here as we transition back now towards outer zone 4. Gert Kubersep right there on the door, the 180 SX. Gert not giving an inch to Cameron Mustard as Cameron Mustard brings it around now towards the outer zone 7 into the proximity zone, and Gert's got to make every bit of that count in that proximity zone right there on the door as Cameron Mustard powers that 180 SX around towards the last section of track here. Gert Kubersep starting to reel him in nice and slowly here. A little bit of a jump on the front end from Cameron, but
absolutely
we'll send him
masterclass by Gert.
Yeah, unbelievable chase run there from Gert. Just fantastic all the time. He's one of the best chase drivers, I think. I think what lets him down is the length of that car can sometimes upset the line. He has to cut angles sometimes where some cars will be deeper in the wall. He can't get as deep because he's just that bit longer. So still manages to win battles while doing that, by the way, which is incredible. But we will send them for the second half of this run. Cameron Mustard just pulling into the chase lane now, Yogi.
Let's see what Cameron can give back as a reward. So let's see Gert leaving the line. Cameron is always fast in the chase, but let's see, they're leaving the line, accelerating very, very fast into the run-up. Flick entry by both. Cameron matches the angle, but not proximity. Gert is fast into the D-cell zone. Fills the 2 auto clips. Transitions onto the next one, runs the wall, decels nicely. Cameron's now tucked in right on the door. Can he keep it there? Transitions around onto the wall run by Gert. Look at that. You were saying about the size of the car, but look, he's mastering it beautifully. Transitions to the last clip, fills it, and now finding the wall, going very deep on the entry of the wall, under the bridge. Beautiful run by both drivers. Gert did a slightly better job on entry in the chase. We're here? Oh, okay, I'm just checking. Here just disappeared, so I was like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
and we get
It's
to
one
skip
more
one more
time.
time!
Ah, I'm back. Yes, one more time there.
One more time, Kian.
One more time. Incredible from both guys there. Like, literally, both guys so good. Like, lead and chase. The battle overall, judges would have had to be really looking at that splitting hairs, but we will go back again to the first half of this one more time. Cameron Mustard to lead in Gert Kubersep there. As initiation in Gert Kubersep right there on the door. Cameron Mustard in the 180SX. Gert right there again through that zone. Look at the proximity there. A little bit of tap on the door from Gert saying, hey, I'm still here. Right there with you, coming through out of zone 4 and 5 here. Gert maybe a little bit more of a distance there between them, but now coming into the proximity section, he'll get right up on the door of Cameron Mustard. Slow that chaser right down so he doesn't hit that 180SX. A little bit of a gap now again, but Gert will reel him nice and slowly back in and get right back up on the door there. Gert Kubersep, unbelievable chase run there. Cameron Mustard, though, cannot fault the lead run. It was fantastic. Unbelievable stuff from both of these guys. We'll send them for the second half of this battle. See what happens. Cameron, I'm noticing in every battle this day, has taken a little bit more time to get back to the line, Yogi. He's taking that little bit extra time to get back there. It's very interesting to see. Is he playing mind games or?
How good was Gert Chase? And he just did it again and even did it better? That's insane! That's
unbelievable stuff.
Switching them around, we're going to see Cameron. Can he push enough now to be on Gert's door? On the initiation, that's where he lacked the most proximity, so he's now making a jump. He's initiating side by side to Gert. Big flick initiation by both. Now he's closer. Onto the... Oh! Was that a bit of a tap? I don't know. Let's carry on. The judges will know. Onto the beautiful outer zone by both drivers. Gert is doing a great line. Cameron is mimicking the angle, mimicking the line. It's a beautiful place right on the door. Transition to the proximity area. Now, here we go, running the wall. Cameron is sticking out to his door and he's showing him exactly what he's made of. Beautiful proximity, nice transition. Decel a little bit now against himself, wide on the outside zone, last outer zone, fulfills it and keeps his door right on the door. Wow, man. I would not want to be a judge right now.
No, absolutely not. These guys know how to bring a battle one more time, but they also know how to win battles. We will see what the judges do here. So, cause of contact during the transition. Gert Kubersep getting the win there. Cameron Mustard knocked out in the top 16. Big upset there. Gert Kubersep moving along to top 8. As we move it back to the line here to our next battle, it will be Ahmed Al Hamadi versus Hassan Selik. Hassan's to chase first. As we get the green lights to go ahead, we get Ahmed to lead in. Big power now going all the way down towards outer zone 1. A little bit of a late initiation there from Hassan, making big headway though, coming through that second outer zone and around to the third, getting back up onto the door. The S15 and the A90 hits Hassan in that carbon drifting liveried A90. Unbelievable stuff here, making up ground as we come back around now to outer zone 6 and around to outer zone 7. Hassan right there with Ahmed right there. Look at the proximity here as we transition back now towards the last touch and go and into the final section of track here around the final outer zone. Hassan not giving an inch to Ahmed Al Hamadi, and across the line under the containers they go. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Made no sense. Did you see that run up? How did he caught up so quickly? That was crazy.
Definitely just taking a little bit of angle out at the run up there just after outer zone 1, taking out a little bit of angle just to make that catch up was Hassan, but we'll swap them around now for the second half of this battle.
So here we go. We got Ahmed in the chase now, Hassan in the lead. Can Ahmed keep it behind? Oh, he's intimidating him. He's right side by side to him. Nice initiation. Beautiful now. Proximity is nice. Transition onto the decel zone. Very good angle mimicking by Ahmed. Now transition onto the next zone. Fulfills run the wall. Both spoilers on top of the wall. Beautiful run. Transition onto the proximity zone. There we go. Look at that. Door on door. Mimics the angle. Mimics the line. He's right there. Couldn't fit a piece of paper there. Transition around. Touch and go. And now back on throttle. Fulfilling the last zone all the way around. Under the bridge. No problem at all. Wow.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, what goes with the judges. And yeah, Ahmad Al-Hamadi getting the win there. So definitely doing a lot. Unfortunately for Hassan, that Carbon Drift Team driver dropping out of competition in top 16. We'll move along to the last battle of the top 16. Alexander Element to take on Bartosz Sposob. We get the green lights to go. Bartosz Sposob to lead out Alexander Element for the first half of this battle. They power both of them cards down. Look at the proximity from Alexander Element off initiation. Unbelievable stuff here. Reels him in through this touch and go section here. Alexander having to stall up a little bit there not to hit Bartosz as we transition back now to outer zone 4 and 5. Alexander right there. Bartosz doing a kind of a scrappy lead run here through that section as we start to settle in now towards the proximity section of track. Nice and smooth through here. Alexander Element so clean, so fluid through all of his transitions and reeling in that proximity. Look at how he does it, just nice and smooth, reels in nice and slowly up onto the door of that 370Z, but again, can't have a good chase without a good lead. Unbelievable stuff from both drivers here. We'll send them back to the line for the second half of this run, but Alexander Element doing bits here in the first half of the battle.
That was so smooth, mimicking the angle, keeping it safe. The proximity was bang on. Amazing. Ooh. A bit of dirty talk in the chat there. You see?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here the second half. But judges will deem who's really the winner at the end of all this. They'll pick up on everything, no matter who's complaining or what. But we'll go for the second half, Yogi.
Alexander leaving. Absolutely rocket ship to entry. Beautiful run up. And now, big angle transition, but he managed to make it work in the chase car. He's trying to keep up to Alexander, but looks like Alexander is just moving forward at a huge pace. He's trying to catch on, but he doesn't make it work. He doesn't do enough, and Alexander's showing exactly what he's made of. Look at him. He's in a completely different section of the track. It's going to put a huge nerve-wracking in his brain, but now he's transitioning onto the out touch and go. Right, nice, fulfilling the wall. It's the second time he hits the wall. He's trying to catch up to Alexander, but Alexander's on a league of its own. Wow.
Yeah, we'll see what the judges make of all of this. But we do get Alexander Element getting the win there, as that will be it for our top 16. We will move on to our top 8 bracket. And we will run you through who is in our top 8 right now. So, in our top 8, that is, scroll down, we have Simon Sandman versus Emilis Velika, Nicostella versus Darius Ostrojka, Vitaly Izaev versus Gert Kubersev, and Ahmad Al-Hamadi versus Alexander Element there. So, we will just get everybody back into the server, all comfortable, make sure everything is running okay. And yeah, my list is fully updated now. So we wait for the judges and everybody to get settled in, get ready to go. Everybody will do their little bit of test. Obviously, after a restart, like we said earlier, you want to make sure that everything's right, grip level wise and all that kind of stuff. Make sure all the settings are correct. Most of the time they are, and there's never really an issue, but it's always good to just check. Things can go wrong quite regularly with the sim. Any of you guys in the chat who have the sim, you know, anyone who has a sim knows everything will go wrong at the worst possible moment. So competition tends to be that worst possible moment 9 times out of 10. But we do get the call.
There's a bit of a fun fact there. Exactly the same in real life, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we'll get everybody back to the pit here now, and we will get Simon Sandman versus Emilis Velika to kick off our top 8 here. So Simon Sandman to lead us out there. Get the green light, Simon, to lead in Emilis. What will happen here as we get the big long run up? These guys gonna fire both of these cars. Look at the proximity from Emilis Velika right off the rip. Look at the angle from Simon Sandman doing an incredible job there. Gets through outer zone 3, transitions back towards outer zone 4. Emilis not giving an inch to Simon Sandman here. Around to outer zone 5. Transition back now underneath the grandstand to outer zone 6 and around towards the proximity zone of outer zone 7. Emilis not giving an inch. He's pushing Simon Sandman around this Montreal track as we transition back now towards the last section. Emilis gonna be right there again, pushing Simon Sandman around this track, not giving him an inch, not making contact either. This is unbelievable. How is Emilis Velika doing this? That A90 Supra, he has it on lock, knows exactly what that car can and cannot do. But goddamn, that run from Simon Sandman as well was incredible. Not putting a foot wrong, inch perfect everywhere in the lead. That is qualifying perfect there. It's a 100-point qualifying run. Nothing wrong with that. We will get them swapped around for the second half of this run, Yogi.
So here we go. Let's see Simon in the chase. Let's see what he can do. Leaving the line, trying to chase up that A90 Supra. He's side by side. He's going to put a lot of pressure on. Big bumper-to-bumper entry. Nice transition into the T-cell zone. Oh, a bit of a backward entry there by the A90, but Simon is doing an incredible job keeping up. Nice transition onto the outer zone, fulfills it, transitions. Now we're going to go into the proximity area. Beautiful, smooth running the wall. Oh, a bit of a wall tap there, but he's making it work. He's find a way out. Transition to the touch and go. Back on power, running the wall. Simon is showing exactly what he's made of. Look at that proximity. He's smooth, he's nice, all the way to the finish line. Wow, man, that was insane. Gets better and better every run. It is crazy what these guys can do.
Yeah, unbelievable. Simon Sandman, though, getting the win. Unbelievable stuff there. Emilis Velika saying GG, so Simon Sandman, but that was incredible from both guys as we move it along. Darius Ostrika to take on Nicostella here. Darius to give lead, Nico to give chase as we get them to power both them cars down the big Montreal straight. Unbelievable entry side by side here from both drivers. Nicostella not giving an inch to Darius Ostrika. And we move through that form section, unreal as we come over the on 6. Nicostella, unbelievable striker right in the middle of the Supra. This doesn't make sense how close Nicostella is to Darius striker right now. He knows he can trust his lead. This is a robot when it comes to leads. It's unbelievable, but Nicostella fully trusting it and getting unbelievably close through that entire run. I can't fathom how close that was. You couldn't fit anything between these guys. Not even an electron was going through those guys. It was that tight between the two of them.
Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Well, now we're going to swap them around. Darius is going to be in the chase, and can he keep up with Nico? Nico is very fast. He's got very good, car setup from Alan Hines, one of the legends. Let's see what they can do. Here we go. Who's going to go to the top 4? Side-by-side initiation. Darius doing a great job behind Nico. Nico's doing exactly what the judges are wanting. Ooh, that was a close call there, but they make it work. Right on door, through the outer zones. Transitions around, running the wall onto the next zone. Filling it. Darius is cutting the track a little bit just to catch up with Nico. Nico is very fast. He's putting the big spoiler right on top of the wall, fulfilling the full outer zone with smoothness. Onto the touch and go, and I'm back on power onto the last outer zone. He's fulfilling it. Darius is there. He's on the door. He's mimicking him. That is insane.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff from both guys here. Very, very tidy runs. as we will wait for the judges to go split hairs for this one, because this is unbelievable. Like, how close these guys
Nico's
are.
a kid, man. He's a kid.
Hey, don't think about the kids right now are killing everybody. Like, if you look at even real life, the next generation coming through drifting is unbelievable. Drifting has a very bright future. So
absolutely, man. I've had a 12-year-old today doing 70-mile-an-hour entries.
So we do have information here. Awesome runs, but small mistake from Nico after out of zone 4 pushed Darius out of the track. So Darius Ostrika does get the win. So that will move us along to the next battle there. Vitaly Isaiah versus Gert Kubersep, as we will get them to the line. Vitaly Isaiah to lead first, Gert to give chase. They will leave the line. Gert getting that little bit of a jump before the lights went green there. Absolutely allowed to do that in the chase position. He looks like it's going to be a massive flick entry on the back bumper for Gert, and it is. As we transition back here, Gert's going to make another dive now through outer zone 2 and around to outer zone 3. Perfectly on the door of the A90 Supra of Vitaly Isaiah as we come around through outer zone 4 and 5. Gert right there, maybe wanting to reel him in a little bit quicker here as we come through the proximity zone, nice and wide there from the Ukrainian driver of Vitaly Isaiah. Gert Kubersev not giving an inch there though as we transition back now towards the last section of track. Gert right there, gonna reel him in nice and slow again. Big dive there, just making a bit of contact onto the door of the Mark V Supra. Unbelievable stuff. As we get them back to the line here, we will run it for the second half of this battle. Unbelievable stuff here as both guys take their time getting back. They will talk to their spotters and make sure that everything's in tip-top shape. What they need to do in the second half of this battle, all Gert really needs to do is do the best lead run he possibly can, and Vitaly has to go door on door with the chaser. Luckily, Vitaly has a massive target. That chaser, a big car, but it means that that chaser will fill out every other zone on the track as well. As we initiate through here, right on the back bumper is Vitaly Isaiah. As we initiate through again, right on transition, Vitaly right there as you come through outer zone 2 and around towards outer zone 3. Vitaly Isaiah not giving an inch here to Gert Kubersep. As we come around here to outer zone 5, we're transitioning back now towards the back of the grandstand. Vitaly right there reeling in Gert Kubersep through the proximity section of track here. Fantastic from both guys. Gert not putting a foot wrong in the lead here. Vitaly Isaiah right there in the chase, reel him in nice and slowly, put some marks on that door. Unbelievable stuff from Vitaly Isaiah, not giving an inch to Gert Kubersep. Unbelievable stuff. Fantastic here. We will wait for the judges to give the signal of who has won here, or we go one more time. That was fantastic from both guys. Both guys congratulating each other there in chat as we wait for the judges to drop in the decision. Both of these guys as well have been around for a very long time. So we will definitely, if we see a one more time out of this, I would not be surprised, because judges can only split so many hairs and weigh it all up. It gets too much at sometimes, so we will see what the judges do make of that. They will rush back those 2 runs though and make sure that they haven't missed anything, or make sure that everything was in tip-top shape. But both guys, unbelievable stuff so far from both of them. We'll see who advances on to the top 8 though. Or sorry, to the top 4 even. So we are getting some information. Great runs. Vitaly, a little less corrections on his chase. So I do believe that means that Vitaly Isaiah will get the win. Gert had a small tire drop outside of outer zone 1. So good job, Gert. Anyway, Vitaly Isaiah does get the win, and that will mean Gert Kubersep does drop out in the top 8. He will be happy with his performance today, I presume. That was unbelievable. As we do move back to the line, we have Alexander Elliman versus Ahmed Al-Hamadi. These guys are going to throw hands. This is going to be unbelievable stuff here. I cannot wait to see what's going on with this, as We get them both to the line. We get red lights and we get green lights. Both of these guys sent down the track for the first half of this battle. Your last battle of your top 8 before we head along to the top 4. Ahmed Al Hamadi right alongside Alexander Elman. Al Hamadi, oh my god! Contact there just before outer zone 2, and that touch and goes. We transition back now towards outer zone 4. Alexander Elman doing an incredible job here in the lead. Ahmed Al Hamadi right there with him too, though. But that contact will be looked at by the judges as we come through the proximity section here. Ahmed doing a very nice job through there, right on the door of the A90 Supra in that S15 as we reel him back in now again for the last section of this track under the containers and across the line. Alexander Element not doing anything wrong there. No mistakes in that lead run. But Ahmed maybe just get a little bit too aggressive there in the chase, giving Alexander a bit of a nudge. Judges are looking for pinpoint accurate here. They don't want any contact. It's a non-contact sport. So we will see what happens here as we swap them back around. Alexander Element, he's known for how fluid his chases are. We've seen that this evening already. So let's see what happens with the rest of this battle as we get the green light to head down the long straight as Ahmed Al Hamadi, big flick in. Alexander Elman right on the back bumper of the S15 as we transition back here now. Alexander reeling in slowly through that touch and go. Ahmed not doing a bad job here out in the lead, but Alexander right there in the chase as he comes into outer zone 5 here. Transition back now towards outer zone 6, and look at this from Alexander Elman doing an incredible job. Alexander right there, so smooth in the chase position as we transition back now. Not snappy at all, just nice and slow, reel him in, keeping nice and fluid throughout all of this. Alexander Elman doing an incredible job in that A90 Supra. Fantastic stuff from both drivers here. Both of these guys putting on a hell of a battle, and all evening doing incredible runs. So whoever goes home here this evening, they can definitely hold their head high because they put on an incredible performance here this evening. As we wait for the judges to drop in their scores, we will wait for the guys just to drop them in really quick. We'll see. The judges will probably deliberate this one a little bit just to make sure that they are making the right call, because both guys were so perfect. Ahmed did have a small advantage until the last zone, apparently. So the correction was after a small wall tap. So Alexander Element gets the win, and that is what can change a battle. Ahmed had a small advantage right up until the last zone, had a very tiny wall tap, but that's what lost on the battle. Very, very small margins here at DCGP. You have to be pinpoint perfect. As that will be the last battle of our top 8, and we'll move it along to our top 4.
Yes, and there was no server restart. So
yes.
Right now we have Simon Sandman and Darius Ostraka already initiating. And into the second outside zone they go. Trying to stay as close as he can, while Salman is doing great stuff in the lead.
Yeah, as we get them back to the line here now. I did unfortunately miss the first half of that battle due to my own stupidity, but we get those guys back to the line here now. Darius Ostraka and Simon Sandman, both incredible drivers. As we get them back to the line here now, we will get Simon Sandman to chase out Darius Ostraka. Simon Sandman in the chase. Darius Ostrojka in the lead. Let's see what happens in the second half of this battle. Simon Sandman really level with Darius Ostrojka entering on the back bumper of the A90 Super is Simon Sandman. Big dive now into the second outer zone as we come around to the third outer zone. Simon Sandman not giving an inch to Darius Ostrojka as we transition back towards outer zone 4. Darius Ostrojka hanging that wing over the concrete barrier as we transition back now to outer zone 6 and around to outer zone 7. Simon Sandman gonna reel in the proximity onto the A90 Super here. Tucks that S15 perfectly onto the door as we transition back here now. Simon gonna reel Darius back in nice and slowly here. Took that front bumper onto that front wheel of the A90. Unbelievable stuff here from Simon Sandman. Fantastic from both drivers. Darius doing an incredible lead run there too. Very, very nice from both drivers. A lot of support for Simon Sandman in the chat, but unfortunately Darius Ostrojka getting the win there. Simon Sandman will be back for the third and fourth playoff there as we go on to our next half of the top 4. Vitaly Isaiah versus Alexander Element.
This is going to be a big one.
This is going to be a huge one. Alexander Element, unbelievable for his chase, known for his chase driving and how smooth he is. But Vitaly Isaiah, that incredible lead driver. Let's see what happens and how you pair this up. Unbelievable start here. Good initiation from both drivers. Alexander Element right on the door there. Both A90 Supers here coming through the Montreal tracks as we come around to outer zone 4, hanging the spoilers over the concrete barriers. We transition back now towards outer zone 6, around to outer zone 7. Alexander Element right there on Vitaly Isaiah as he runs that perfect lead line as we transition back now towards the last section of track. Alexander Element right on the door of Vitaly Isaiah. Look at this perfect proximity for both guys, and we come across the line. Unbelievable stuff. That's only the first half of it. That's the first half of this battle. What's going to happen on the second half? I have no idea.
Well, the question is, will Vitaly give a favor to Alexander? Because Alexander is very fast, but Vitaly is just as fast as we just saw. So I'm very keen. Let's switch them around, see what happens.
Yeah, I think Vitaly's the kind of guy, he'll always repay the favor. He's a very nice guy like that. He'll always pay you back. But we will see what happens in the second half of this, Yogi.
Let's see what happens. All right, so we setting ready. Let's go. Alexander in the lead, Vitaly in the chase, leaving the line. Vitaly's not giving any room for error. He's right there, side-by-side initiation. Perfect mimication of angles. Snap back around. D-cell zone. Beautiful, straight onto his door. Now, he's not as close as Alexander was, but he's mimicking the angle a little bit better. Transitions around right on the wall. Oh, now he's got a little bit too close to the inside of the track. But now he's snapping around. He's straight onto the angle, right in the right place. Alexander's doing a sterling job as an entry, as a lead car. Wow, what a run. Now Vitaly's turning around on the touch and go through onto the wall. Lost out the zone. Who's it going to take it? Vitaly's pushing it around on finish line. Wow, man. These boys are on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens here from who is going through to the final, who's going through to the third and fourth place playoff. So Alexander Element getting the win. He will go through to the final, and Vitaly Isaiah will go through the third and fourth place playoff. So we will move everything back to the line here to see what happens in our finals. So our third place battle first will be Simon Sandman versus Vitaly Isaiah to kick us off in our finals. We get the green light. Simon Sandman to lead out Vitaly Isaiah. Let's send him down the straight for the last time in these positions. Vitaly Isaiah right on the door. Simon Sandman. Look at this from Vitaly Isaiah. Perfect from the chase driver. Vitaly doing an incredible job as Simon Sandman doing quite a tidy job in the lead here too. Vitaly right there as we transition back now. Vitaly not giving an inch to Simon Sandman as we come into the proximity area. Let's see how close he gets. Right there on the door is Vitaly Isaiah as we turn around now again. Look at this from Vitaly. Fantastic as Simon Sandman running that perfect lead line yet again. As a little bit of contact there, maybe, right as we come across the line from Vitaly on Simon, just knocking on him, saying, hey, I'm still here. Don't worry about me. I didn't get left behind. As we send them back to the line here now. They'll be onto their spotters. What's going on? How do I approach the next half of this battle? Unbelievable.
Drivers. Unbelievable. The timing of snapback by Simon was just insane. But now we're going to swap it around. We're going to have Vitaly in the lead. Simon in the chase. Oh, Simon's taking a big run up. He doesn't want to leave any room for chance here. He's going to go for it. He's going to stick it onto his door. He's side-by-side initiation. He's ahead of Vitaly. Oh my God, that's some big risk reward taking. But he's made it work onto the decel zone. He's right on the inside wheel to wheel. It's a bit of the wrong place to be, but now he's matched himself. He's put himself a bit further back. He's on the door. He's trying to catch up. He knows Vitaly is passing that Supra. Snap back around, now onto the wall runs. We're going to run the wall, both of them, putting the spoiler right on top of the barrier. Oh, Simon pushes a little bit too much onto the touch and go. Now moving forward onto the last outer zone, fulfilling it by both drivers with great proximity. Bit of left foot braking by Simon just to keep it settled. Jesus, that's insane. That was insane.
Yeah, very, very good run. Vitaly Isaiah getting the win there. That's third place, solidified for him. Just too many mistakes there for Simon. Unfortunately, just missing out on that bottom step of the podium. As we now move to the big one. It's the one that everybody's waited all evening for. It's the final. We have Darius Ostrojka versus Alexander Element. This is going to be insane. Both of these guys have just been having an unbelievable evening. This is fantastic from all of the drivers so far, but this is the big one. Two A90 Supras in the final to round off the evening. Let's go. Alexander Element to lead out Darius Ostrojka. What's going to happen on initiation? Darius Ostrojka right on the back bumper here as Alexander Element transitions back towards outer zone 2, and Darius Ostrojka's right there as we go through towards outer zone 3. What's the transition going to be like? Inch perfect from Darius as he moves slightly shallow to get still on the door. That other A90 of Alexander Element transition back now towards outer zone 7 into the proximity zone. Darius Ostrojka right there as well, not giving an inch to Alexander Element, pushing him around this Montreal track for the final time in the chase this evening. Darius Ostrojka right there with Alexander Element. Alexander doing an incredible job in the lead. Unbelievable stuff here as we finished out the run. Unbelievable from Darius and Alexander. Fantastic stuff.
What a lead run Alexander was pulling off there, and Darius just matching it everywhere around. That was insane. I struggled to keep quiet, if I'm honest. That was beautiful.
Yeah, we'll move them back to the next last run of the day, the final run of the day. We'll get Alexander Element to chase Darius Ostrojka. This is going to be wild.
Let's go. Send him. Ready. We're leaving the line. Alexander is keeping up. He's staying side by side. He's going to initiate. Oh, sudden rush forward by Darius. Now great transition. Alexander's decelling a little bit too shallow, but he's now right on the door. He's settled. He's going to stay there. That's for sure, like glue. Matching it on angle and the cell zone. Really good line by both drivers. Transitioning around, staying right on the door with no problem whatsoever. Darius is trying to leave him to dust, but he just can't make it. Alexander is way too fast. He's staying on his door. He's mimicking the angle all the way to the finish line. What a beautiful run.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from both guys. Alexander Element questioning there in the chat already. Lag, question mark. We will see what happens with the judges here. We will have to figure out what went on. Darius Ostrojka. Oh, Alexander saying that Darius jumped before the entry.
Yeah, well, I saw that too. He just suddenly rocketed forward.
Yeah, so maybe a rerun for the second half of that. So we'll see what the judges make of it. We'll have to see. It's all down to the judges. They will make the final decision, but they can just make a decision and go for it. We will see what happens here. Darius kind of giving, like, I don't know, emojis.
I'm curious if they look at the replay, would they see the lag or would they see?
Oh, yeah.
It
They
shows on the
definitely
replay.
will.
Would it be a lag?
Yep, absolutely. So it'll all be on whatever the judges end can see. So if there was lag there and the judges saw the lag, once they hit replay, they will see that too. So Mateus coming back, great runs. Darius saying he's in love with his new wheel. He loves it, which is absolutely fair. I saw the setup during the week there. It's unbelievable. I love it. So the chase from outer zone 1 to the touch and go by Darius, risk everything, and it was awesome. So Darius Ostrojka gets the win, and Darius Ostrojka is your round 5 Montreal DCGP winner. Alexander Element in that runners-up position, and that will be Vitaly Isaev on the 3rd spot as well. And your 4th place position, Simon Sandman. Unbelievable stuff here from everybody today. It was an incredible event. Big thank you to Maki and Yogi and Tiny for helping me out this evening. And yeah, I'll hand it over to Maki.
Next time, less technical difficulties, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll try to be better for last round of the season, because that's gonna be round 6 and the final round of the season 12.
Already?
Yeah, already. Yas Marina circuit.
Please, we're starting the real season in real life.
Yeah, so we're starting at the end of the March, and we'll find out who's the next Drift Corner Grand Prix champion. So
who's leading so far? Just curious.
yeah, Alexander Element is leading with some points advantage, and right now he's even higher in points, because in the 2nd place it's Nicostella, who dropped up relatively early. So okay, so one last time, our podium for today. Winner is Darius Ostrojka. 2nd place goes to Alexander Element. 3rd to Vitaly Isaev. Yeah, and that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, 3 Supras at the podium.
That's sick. I like it.
That's sick. Yeah.
Supra supremacy.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Killian. Thank you, Yogi. And yeah, guys, see you at the last.